Fight.
Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. Welcome. I don't even know if this is... Exit. Get out of there. Welcome. I think. Let me check and make sure this audio is on the right. It says it is. It says it's on the right thing. What's up, guys? Welcome to Law Explaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going, guys? I feel absolutely fucking terrible tonight. I feel awful. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but that's okay. That's okay. We are still doing a show. We've got stuff to talk about. I sound terrible like a robot. You look awful. You guys are amazing. Yeah. Just a second. Let's see here. Think. Incorrect. That wasn't it at all. Oh my God. Oh, okay. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. Nick looks like Kurt smells. Now, you know, there's just rude stuff that you can say, and that's it. That's one of those things. No, this is not shockingly, this is not a leather shirt. It's just shiny. I don't know why, but I like that it's shiny, but it's not leather. I have a leather shirt or two. Don't get me wrong. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? This is life. This is where everything happens for no reason. Did I do this right? God, I don't. I'm like out of it, man. I am out of it. The dual stream is on? Yeah, the dual stream is on, but I am not centered. Oh my God. I got to get my chi focused or whatever and get centered. Can we see your wardrobe sometime? You see it every day. You see it all the time. You look like an AI slop version of The Matrix Reloaded. Yes, that's true. I'm dodging responsibility, though, instead of bullets. Oh, streams. No. I hate you. Oh my God. So we've got a lot to talk about. One thing is my hair is very square today, and that's true, and that's real, and we're not getting around that because I'm not fixing it at present. It's just going to be very square, like it's I'm like a cartoon character. That's all right, I think. So we do have that happening, and that's really important. We got a guy shot again in Minnesota. We're like we're just shooting people left and right here. And I have had many people ask me to do a deep analysis of this. And so we're going to do that tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on. We are going to, what is this? Here we go. All right. Yep. Locals is already on board and on point. We are going to do this analysis. We're going to look at the Pretti, whatever the fuck his name is. We're going to look at the shooting. We're going to go through it. I've read some stuff. I've watched a couple videos, but luckily our good friend Andy Signor has apparently put together quite the compilation video of Alex Pretti and like all the angles, and definitely no editorialization is happening in that. So we're going to just probably borrow his thing. We're going to borrow his thing and we're going to just take a look at it. Look, if you check out different people, you know, you're going to find different opinions, obviously, on this. And it's a really tough one from what I've seen so far. This one's not as simple as the Renee Good shooting. The Renee Good shooting was a good shoot, and it was pretty damn obvious. Like, you can pretend a bunch of things happened or didn't happen during the Renee Good shooting, and you can go, you know what? Like, maybe it's like, all right, maybe, but no, this is justified. This is justified, and Jonathan Ross likely not going to get prosecuted unless, you know, there's a new president elected or something. Who knows? But until there's a political reason to do it, it's just not going to happen. All right. He's going to most likely be in the clear. Now, because I said that, he's fucking cooked. Like, he's going to get prosecuted so hard, and he's going to get the death penalty by, forceful sex or whatever. Like, it's going to be very unpleasant, I'm guessing. But that's only because of the universe having to go against me from time to time. This shooting of Alex Pretti is different than the other one. This one has facts that are much less clear, that are much more suited for a jury, in my opinion. Now, does that mean any of these officers are guilty? No. And there's a complicating factor in that there are several officers involved in this one. Does that mean that this is a good thing? This is a good shoot? Because, like, there's a justified shoot and then there's a good shoot. I think this one might fall into the justified category. Like I said, there's some facts that so far, from what I've seen, that I either am missing or complicate things. And we're going to talk about those. We're going to confront those. We're going to confront them head on. We're going to get right in there. We're going to be like, hey, facts, this is a thing. And I don't know how you confront facts, like in reality. I've heard the expression, but we're going to try to confront the facts. But we are going to get in there and look at what's going on with this shooting, and we're going to give it a full-on de novo review. I'm not going to go off of what other people have said. I've read some of Branca's analysis. I've read it, and I don't necessarily disagree. I also don't think Branca is necessarily saying what people believe he's saying. We are going to talk about the P326 hour, the alleged misfire. Very important. But that right there, the alleged misfire, that is an issue for trial. That is a ripe question for a jury to determine. Did this gun go off? Like, could it have gone off accidentally? We see it on video go off. It's not like a fucking mystery. It happened. We don't know exactly why, but couldn't this gun go off? There's going to be expert testimony about it. SIG is going to have to be put on the stand. They're going to have to defend their shitty gun with its shitty firing mechanism. Okay. So that's one thing. That's one real thing that is there. That's going to happen if this thing goes to trial, which I think this one might. Okay. So that's an issue. What was done? Was this gun disarmed, or was this guy disarmed? And that question does not just mean, was the gun removed from him? That's one part of being disarmed. There are other parts of being disarmed. Typically involves removal of arms, like both of those things. But he wasn't that disarmed. So then the question is, was he disarmed? Was he partially disarmed? Does it matter? Of course, I think a lot of these things do matter. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into what happens when police officers hear there's a gun. We're going to get into whether or not that gun needs to exist. We're going to get into the possibility that some of these officers may be guilty and some may not, right? We're going to get into all of this stuff tonight. But we are going to have a little bit of a discussion about protest, about civil disobedience, about the presence of handguns at protests, the presence of long rifles at protests, the Second Amendment, reasonable behavior versus exercising of rights. Those are different things. They really matter because someone is dead. I mean, it matters to him. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not dead. You know why? Because I wouldn't do what he did. I'm not stupid. But just because you're stupid doesn't mean you need to die. Sunglasses because of dilated pupils. No. I'm tired. The lights are bright. I got new sunglasses. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm going to send ICE to your house. I'm going to be like, he's resisting, officer. You're done. You're dead. Get killed or whatever. That's a joke. Don't actually get killed. Please try. Try not to. Please try not to die. I don't want anybody to die. I really don't. Including Alex Pretti, even though I think he made a huge set of mistakes that led directly to his death. And I think that we've got a couple different things going on that we really need to figure out. Like, we need to figure out that two different things can be happening at the same time. I don't think people know this, but it's true. Two things in the universe can occur simultaneously. And one of them is that Alex Pretti can have been and was really, really fucking stupid. Really, really stupid. That does not mean anyone deserves to die, but Alex Pretti acted in a way in which he should have expected the possibility of death. And maybe he did. That's another thing we often forget, is maybe someone did contemplate these things. Maybe they did go in and make these decisions, and that's fine. That's fine. But that is separate from the legal analysis of whether or not the shooting was justified, although it factors into it. Although it factors into it heavily. There's a way to not get killed by ICE right now, and it's to not be involved in any way in ICE operations. Like, the people who are getting killed by ICE don't belong in an ICE operation. That's one of the things that makes people so mad. They're like, no, not white people. They're supposed to get the little brown ones. Yeah, we know. So get the fuck out of the way. Like, try that one. I've seen so many people say, well, he was a nurse. Okay, gay, that's fine. It's like, he was a nurse and he's trying to help a woman that ICE is. Nope, you don't get to do that. You don't get to help someone who is currently being accosted by police or ICE or any other law enforcement officer. And I know that sounds really awful. And it's like, oh, tyranny or whatever. This isn't tyranny, ladies and gentlemen. Tyranny is when you talk about it online and someone shows up at your house and puts a bullet in your kid. That's tyranny. That's the Soviet Union. That's the tyranny we know about. That's Tiananmen Square, where they just ran you over with a fucking tank. They're like, get out of the way. Done. Game over. They don't care anymore. That's tyranny. Tyranny is not. You've got people getting involved in scuffles with police and ending up dead. That's bad outcomes. That's not tyranny. Those are different things. Those are different things. Joe said you're wrong and gay. That's fine. That's okay. That's okay. But tyranny tyranny is not only the execution of people in the streets, it's the execution of people who complain afterwards. Tyranny is a suppression of message. We can't do that anymore. And we need to talk about what protest looks like and the purpose of it now. I've been realizing something as I just think through a lot of different stuff about like my life and about the world over the past couple weeks here. And one of the things I've been wrestling with like it's a gay ICE agent, is just how much we do because that's what people do. That's what people have done. We protest the way we protest because that's how people protested. But when you think back to like major protests, when you think back to 1968, when you think back to Birmingham, Alabama, when you think back to Tiananmen Square, when you think on all of these protests, when you think on these major points in history, there was a gatekeeper to the information. There was a flow of information that happened, but it was filtered through these companies, through their marketing, through their branding, through their biases, through their goals, through their allegiances. We don't have that anymore. We don't need a guy to get run over by a tank to go, hey, the government's fucking up over here. And we can spread that message across the entire world in a second. We don't need CNN. We don't need Reuters to come around and be like, all right, let's write up a newswire. Let's get this out to the local affiliates. We don't need that. We don't need that because we have Andy No, or we have Nick Sorter, or we have, you have anybody who's out there who's got their stupid name attached to a stupid camera. Go look at some of the meta footage of the protest. Look at Jake Lang, when Jake Lang was cornered, and I don't know anything about Jake Lang. I don't give a shit. Before anybody starts telling me about Jake Lang being a grifter or being the greatest saint of all time, I don't care about Jake Lang. I don't fucking care. He's just an example that happened. But if you've seen the video, and maybe we should watch it, when he gets pinned up against that building, I used to work right by that building. It's pretty neat. When he gets pinned up against that building, you know what you see more of than anything else? A bunch of fucking selfie sticks turned the wrong way with cell phones pointing at him. And you're like, what is this? What is this? The press of the crowd isn't the press of protest. The press of the crowd is the press of the press. There's so much press right now. There's so many people trying to get the shot that it actually complicates everything. It complicates the protest. It complicates the response. It complicates the violence. It makes people misunderstand what's going on. That's all happening. And it's all happening because we protest now the way we protested in 1968, which is retarded. That's a really stupid thing to do. We shouldn't be protesting like 1968. We don't need to. We don't need to draw attention. We don't need black people to be sprayed with fire hoses to get white people to go, you know what? Maybe their encounters with the police aren't like mine. What we did in 1954, we don't need it now. We get it. And this matters because as long as we are setting ourselves up for interactions with the police, you set yourself up to be shot because every single law ends with a bullet. I've said this ever since I started my YouTube channel. Every single law, the smallest law ever, ends with a bullet. So we need to be cautious and careful about what those laws say, why we have them, how much interaction we want. But that goes both ways. Just because you can be out there, and you can be out there protesting. So much tyranny, so much oppression. You can stand out in the negative 20 degrees weather and freeze your fucking nuts off, screaming full-throated about ICE and how evil it is. Cool, go do it. But why should anybody fucking care? Oh, you're there at the streets? Okay, that's dumb. I don't get it. We don't need you to draw that physical attention. We don't need you to obstruct ICE. We don't need you. Why are you obstructing ICE? I don't like them. Well, you are in involving yourself in a federal law enforcement operation in the negative capacity. And that matters. And you know why it matters? Because we heard from Renee Good shooting, right? Over and over and over. It's about the totality of the circumstances. The totality of the circumstances. Well, guess what? Circumstances exist. The circumstance exists that someone brought a gun to a protest that's protesting government officials. People are trying to compare that to Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't protesting government officials. Kyle Rittenhouse was protecting a building, for better or worse. He was protecting a building he was asked to. He was protecting his community from a riot. He had an AR-15 on him. To be very clear, Alex Pretti has every right to have a gun at this protest. I support his ability to have a gun at this protest. I support his ability to carry all the ammo he can fucking stomach. But when he does that, the cop who he is opposed to has to wonder why. And that goes into the calculus. It goes into the equation. That's math if you're from the inner city or whatever. And we got to stop pretending it doesn't. We got to stop pretending that this stuff isn't running through every ICE agent's head right now. What's the option? Oh, stop ICE operations. Oh, okay, that seems good. We'll do that. Or we can keep impeding ICE and see how that goes. Good luck. Have fun. Get shot because you're gonna. You're going to get sprayed. You're going to get flashbanged. You're going to get flashed by an old guy. His name is Terrence. He lives in the Skyway. And you're going to get shot eventually. And I don't want people shot. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Remember, all feds are gay by default. And so we don't want that. We don't want them to have too much power. We don't want them thinking that they're good. They're not. But there's a bunch of questions here. And a lot of it's going to boil down to like what we're going to watch on video. Where do we start? Where do we start the clock on these encounters? One thing to remember is, and I'm going to try and remind you because you're going to want to forget, it's not about what Alex Pretti did or wanted to do. It's not about him. He's dead. He's not charged with a crime. The government is not trying to discern his intention. It doesn't matter. His intentions are no longer relevant. The actions and perceptions of the police officers, or the ICE agents, that's what's relevant. That does not mean that they're justified or not. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm going to make up my mind with you guys tonight. We're going to go through it. I'm going to go through my analysis live with you, and we're going to do that. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be great. We're going to watch some death. It's going to be cool. Let's talk about it. Let's go through it. I don't want, I have some ideas about where I'm going to land on this, but I really don't know because there's video I haven't seen. There's circumstances that I have questions about. I really want to know why he's there. I really want to know why 2 seconds before it looks like he's got some bitch in a headlock. But I also think maybe he was helping her out. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know the guy, the officer who shoved him, that guy might be guilty of murder and the other people might not. We got multiple cops making multiple decisions here. And all of this stems from some incessant need to get in the way of the lawful enforcement and removal, the lawful enforcement of immigration law and the removal of people who shouldn't be here. And let's stop pretending that ICE is just running around grabbing random people. ICE is prioritizing really, really awful people. And that's documented. It's demonstrable. It's findable. You can research these things and look, you can't get perfect numbers. And they're not perfect. I don't want major law enforcement actions from the federal government in my cities. It's not my city. Like, I don't care about Minneapolis. Like I live in Minnesota. So what? I hate this state. Like I want it to catch on fire so it's warmer. But that's it. Like I don't want anybody's stuff burned down, just like the grass or whatever. It's like a nice healthy glow. But why are we impeding the removal of people who need to be removed? Why are we doing that? Why is this protest occurring in this way? Of course it can. Of course you have the right. You have the right to protest everything on earth. And you fucking should, I guess. Like, if you want. I'm not here to stop you. But why are you going to specifically get involved with federal officers removing people from the country? Why are you going armed? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You want to protest my choice in shirts? Bring it, motherfucker. You want to bring a gun? I don't even have one. You gotta just catch these hands. I'm just kidding. You think I'm going to fight anybody in this shirt? Oh my God. If I started hitting people, I'd probably end up sleeping with them. No, it's bad. That's not good. Not good. I bought this shirt from India. This shirt says open cloth. Fulux, I agree. That shirt is awesome, but you have to understand its name is Patel. I'll walk up and my shirt says, hey, baby, you know, I'd like to see open Bob, please. Like that happens every single time. It's really awful when I go to a Dairy Queen. Okay. So that's one thing we're going to do. That's one thing. Nick's boyfriend will defend his choice in fashion. His name is Derek and he's cool. He's in Chicago and I love him. What's up, Derek? How you doing, brother? You thought you were going to get away from me? You won't. You won't. I will follow you for the rest of your life from my seat. Okay. So we're going to get into this analysis. I don't know if we should do, maybe first we should watch Legal Eagle cry. Cause like we need to lighten things up. We need to lighten things up. Legal Eagle is crying on video in front of fake snow. It's so fucking embarrassing that I don't know what to do about it. It really happened. I thought it was fake. Someone was like, you have to see this. And then I look on Twitter and I'm like, he's crying. I think he's in a cooler with a green screen. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. He also goes on to, you know, like pontificate stupidly about the situation, the lack of facts, lack of understanding, and really a basic misinterpretation of the law. Because it's legal. That's what he does. So we might start with that. And then if I didn't say it before, I think I might have said it, but Joshua Connor Troon, the owner of Kiwi Farms, has been trying to get my body cam footage from my arrest for, since it happened or whatever. But technically since May 1st of last year, and is when the efforts really kicked in. And today he lost again. Now, I'm no legal expert, but he did lose again. And I just have one thing to say. Hey, Josh, res judicata, faggot. Like, you're done. Game over. Sorry. You were always wrong on the law on this one. Your weird obsession blinded you to it. You took a bunch of money from people for no reason. I think you actually knew you weren't going to win, maybe. But hey, you didn't win again. So you better hope that appeal goes through, or else it's over. Like, you're done. You're done if the first appeal loses. And I think you're gonna. I don't know. We'll see, right? It's 3 judges. I don't know what they're going to do. But I think you're going to lose that one because you don't have an adequate legal basis for it, and you never did. The facts aren't on your side, and the law isn't on your side. And it never was. And then once I'm done, winning that case, I'm going to go after you for fees. because both you and, I mean, I know I'll be going after Harden for fees, which is really too bad. I like Harden, but I'm going to go after Harden for fees because he's a lawyer who could easily read the law, and Bromke could easily read the law, and both of them should have known that this was a fruitless action that had no chance under Minnesota law. Like, it just didn't, there's no legal avenue for it. There never was. But I know you raised money to do this. And I know you've said pretty openly that you've done it just to try and drain me of funds. I don't know if you know that, but that's like not a proper purpose for a lawsuit. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I don't have faith in winning on that. But it doesn't take me much to request that from the court, especially after you get your ass handed to you in 2 different cases. And then an appeal. Maybe 2 appeals. Who knows what you're going to do? Do I have the matching pants on? No. I don't have matching pants for this shirt. Here we go. Johnny Mnemonic says, "You're just weird now, dude. See ya. Later, bud." Adios. You didn't really have to like announce it. Now my feelings are hurt, but that's okay. So speaking of hurt feelings, let's start getting to the super chats and everything that have come in. I need to say one more thing. I was going to do a member show this weekend, but unfortunately there was an illness in my house. Like I said, I don't feel good. I don't think I have the same thing. I think I'm just tired, and we'll see as the show goes on. I think I'll probably just kind of get into things and I won't worry about it. I'll be good. But I was dealing with an illness in my house. I was very much fading in and out throughout that time. It was very, very exhausting. So I did not do a member show this weekend. We are going to do a member show, I think tomorrow is the plan. We've got some great stuff. We've got a Lipsy lawyer and her husband giving marital advice. We've got some other things going on as well. Those are kind of the feature at the moment. There could be anything added to this, but at the moment we've got a ton of material with that going on. And if you guys are not familiar with this Lipsy lawyer, you're going to be. We're going to meet a guy named Ray Bone Crusher, I think. His name is Ray Bone Crusher. Like, how fucking cool. Actually, I think his name is not Bone Crusher. I think it's like Bone Snapper, something like Red Snapper or something. I don't know what it actually is, but he's being called Ray Bone Crusher. He's 8,000 years old and he's retarded. So we're going to make fun of that guy a lot. Because, yeah, there's that. Apparently, I don't know if you guys know this, but Kevin Brennan, really? Like, I know many of you may not know who that is, but Kevin Brennan does not like me, apparently, and that's okay. I think he's mad because he thinks I gave cocaine to my child instead of him or something. That didn't happen, but he's really hung up on it. He's been very girly over the weekend. He's acting like a total woman. But that's fine. That's fine because, washed up comedians are washed up comedians and they'll do whatever they do. So that's good. Kevin Brennan, I'm proud of you. It was cool that you wrote for a season of Saturday Night Live or whatever and no one knows about it. Like, that's awesome. Nailed it. Keep going, brother. I believe that one day your podcast will be awesome. So here we go. Kevin Brennan is literally the meanest, miserable person you've seen. You haven't seen me yet then. Oh my God, I'm miserable as fuck most of the time. Parsimian member for 2 months says proof I once had $2. Wrong. You did once have you twice had $2. It's 2 months now. You got charged again. That's how I get you. Shriv says, "Hey Nick, are you in a music video from Linkin Park's Meteor album?" Yes. Yep. I am right now. That is happening. What do we got here? Holy shit, we got some super tips and everything. We have all sorts of stuff. Let's see. We've got Saber Dragon 65. Cool name, Saber Dragon 65. You need to have Crazy Lips Lady on the Courtney Clenny panel with Bronco. Yes. Yes, I do. I see no way that ends badly since you have such a great track record with Southern lawyers who think they know everything. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong at all with that. Michael W6085 says, call me crazy, but the easiest way not to get shot by ice is not to interact with them. I know a difficult concept since Minnesota is always frozen. See, good point. That's a point that most people, I don't think, have really thought about or considered. And when you consider it, like, you come to, you very scary how much ice is around. Here we go. Oh, no. Where are you? That's not right. God damn it, Megan. Hold on. This is my fault. Property. No. Advanced audio properties. Okay. Hold on. God damn it. See, I reset my Rodecaster. Aha. There we go. Here, let's see. We need to go to this one. Main multi-track. Mic. Main multi-track. No. This one's, output. Let's try this. Does this work? Or is this just, no, this is supposed to be played. That's not working at all. Ah, fucking damn it. Oh, wait. Hold on. You guys don't think I do like that I know what I'm doing. That'd be dumb. Okay, let's see. Main multi-track. Yeah. Oh, this is going to drive me fucking insane. About nope. Although it says it's I assume you guys can't hear that. I assume that that's going on. Just a second. We can let's try. Really? Okay, let's try this one. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Control audio. Okay. It's not even. Is there racism even happening? This says it's playing. Okay, so that's interesting. This is a top quality show, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to solve this problem. Just not like this. Audio troubleshooting is the greatest thing you can do. This is the number one. Choose where to play sound. Okay, speakers. Broadcaster. Main multi-track. That's the default device. Okay. Allow. Why would I do? Oh, I don't like that. Default for audio. Can we test this? Test. Okay, I assume you guys heard the little bing, bing, bing. We had guest Keanu C. Thompson on the show. Okay, so there's that. Oh, you guys can't hear that either? What the fuck is going on right now? What is actually happening right now? Hold on. What about this one? Can you hear that? Tell me if you can hear that part. Loud? I'm sorry. You can turn that down or whatever. Okay, so there's one thing going on that is driving me nuts. This should be playing monitor only. Close. Here, hold on. Okay. What do we have going on here? We have everything going wrong. But we will solve this. We will prevail. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so speaker. Main multi-track.
Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
Okay. So that's happening, but it's not. This, I think, just needs to maybe be reset. Let's try that. No, now that's gone entirely bad. Fuck me. Hold on. Okay, there's that. It's saying that volume is coming out of this. It is saying volume is happening, but something is not happening here. Advanced monitoring device. This should be working. Let's see. We've got desktop audio 2. In multi-track. Apply. This is the worst. Cause see, I don't know if I don't know if a video is going to play right now. We're going to try it. This might help. Here we go. This content isn't available. So I'm trying to get. What the fuck is going on? Are they just done? Oh, there we go.
End up doing. So, with respect to the distinction, that's my takeaway on it. What are your thoughts?
So, my perspective as a guy who carries a gun every day.
Okay, you can hear
I carry a gun every
right?
day. I carry concealed, and I think every American citizen has the right to carry a gun, open carry, And I encourage all of you to do that because that means you get shot first.
Okay.
I don't know why
Okay.
people open carry.
I don't know. I would
I'm
never
gonna
open
do
carry. I
something
would never do it.
evil.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I guess
steal
the
their
only way
content
I was
for a
lawfully
minute
permitted
while
to
I
carry was
troubleshoot
open
the
carry. I
audio.
guess
Then
I
I
would
have
do
no
it.
So I
choice.
apologize.
But if I
in advance
have
for
the
this.
option, I don't want that other
got
dude to know that I have a gun
something going on
until
here.
he's hearing loud noises. I mean, I want to look like the most undefended, helpless person in the world until I have to present my gun. Now, having said that, I think every American has the Second Amendment right to carry open if they want to carry a rifle if they want to. They should, if their state laws don't allow it. The Constitution should allow it. But
This
you have
should
to
be just
understand that when
fine.
you're carrying a weapon openly, you're raising red flags for somebody. I
It's
consider myself
just
a
not
Second Amendment
playing
absolutist. Okay,
the audio.
I think every gun law that preemptively infringes the right
Hold
of
on.
law-abiding, mentally sound American citizens to carry guns is facially unconstitutional. But if I'm sitting in a Starbucks and you walk in with an AR rifle slung across your body, you have 100% of my
fucking
attention.
confused right now.
You have 100% of my attention because that's not normal. That's not normal. You don't carry that for personal protection. You don't carry that for self-defense. You're trying to make some kind of statement. And it
is a
might be a
statement.
statement on the right or it might be a statement on the left. I don't know. But I know that's a lethal weapon.
Advance.
And if I'm there with my wife and children, you have 100% of my attention until you leave that establishment.
But I do want to ask you guys, you gentlemen, about the gun, because I've made the
Ask
claim
about the gun.
that
That
this
sounds
whole gun
good. Who
thing is
cares?
pretty much just a ridiculous red herring, because the cops didn't
Yeah.
know he had a gun until he was literally on the floor and his
There we
jacket
go.
went up and they saw it and the guy said gun, gun,
Maybe
gun, and
if
grabbed
it's
gun.
because I have
So I
this
think
up.
it's only relevant
Fuck
to
off
that
thing.
portion of it, because people
Yes.
people make it sound like he came there with a gun, they brandished the gun, all that stuff. Nobody there knew that there was a gun until that moment. So
It's
everything
fine. Just
before
carry on.
that,
Well, but it'd be
I don't
people
think
pay
we
for
can
these
impugn the cops with that
tips.
knowledge.
I might have to
and say
read
they were
them tonight.
acting
I'm
with
really
that knowledge,
sorry.
because the only time they
about
knew is
that.
when they saw it and the guy said gun, gun, gun. That
So
makes sense.
So,
it's
we'll do
I
it
would
this
say
way.
it's two different conversations, right?
Oui, le voir, mise à
If you
jour
want to
de
have
la
a political
propine,
conversation about whether
Kurt,
he showed up with malice to do bad things,
Puisque tu n'as
then
pas
the
fait
fact,
de mise à jour,
listen, again, I carry a
je
gun
te
every day. I've
souhaite,
carried a gun my entire adult life. I don't typically carry a gun and 60 rounds of ammunition. That's a lot.
I don't know what that means.
In my experience, that's
I don't know what
unusual
that means,
for personal
but I
self-defense.
do take it to heart.
Might you consider
I do
that in
take that to
terms of
heart.
his motives? Maybe. I don't know. It's for a jury to decide.
But I would say
In
that-
terms
remember
of
when they
the
used to let me on the
actual
Zoom
use
call
of force
too?
event, none of those officers knew.
Here, I don't want to do that right now. Let's get these super tips in, and I'm gonna recommend, like, if you're gonna send a super tip and you want to send text, fine. It won't do voices today. I'll work on it. I don't know what happened. I did an update on my Roadcaster. Here we go. We'll say this from Tramp Life. Nick, is this your coming out party? Yes. What the fuck with the gay shirt, man? Well, like, it likes dicks. It's not my fault. How did it go from hands up, don't shoot to fighting with a gun, don't shoot? Yeah, and that's a really good question. Honestly, that's one of the questions that I think we need to be asking, where people come up with this unreasonable idea that they can get involved with police activity and come out unscathed. And it's part of a greater problem. I was teaching my son about civil disobedience and how it's happened throughout history and why it matters. And I said, like, the hardest part, the only smart thing Maddox ever said, he said, civil disobedience is still disobedience. The hardest part for people nowadays is they want the protest. They want the dopamine rush. They want the assistance. They want the good updates. They want the Twitter likes. They want everything, but they don't want the violence. They don't want the government to hit them. And I'm sorry. I don't want the government to hit you either, but without the hit, there's no juice to squeeze. There's no skin in the game without being hit. Like, the being hit is what shocks the conscience. The being hit is what gets people to your side. You got to pay the fucking piper to have an actual protest. Otherwise, you're just yelling. And just yelling is fine. You have every right to do it. You shouldn't get hit, right? Like, you shouldn't do that. You should be able to say your piece. But if you truly believe that we have a tyrannical government, if you truly believe that tyranny is happening, that speech is being suppressed, then guess what? Your speech has to be suppressed, or else you're just a liar. And people don't want that part of it. I don't do this. I'm not stupid. Travis Rice says, sick of the fascist regime. Just heard on Twitter that ICE agents are literally going door to door and sewing penises back onto trans women and yelling, "This is MAGA country!" Literally shaking. Literally shaking. Me too. Very dangerous. If you are out there and you've had your penis removed, they're bringing it back. We're bringing sexy back or whatever. Okay, we've got Rock3H says, hey, Rackets, what's your thoughts on uncivil fat? Sad reply to the hot ladies post on Twitter. Oh my God. Yes, we do have that to talk about. I was saving it for a members show, but we might get a little preview. We might get a preview of Unsimple Law. Wait, it's a good name. But Simp is in there and capitalized so you guys understand. Don't worry about the rest of it. Unsimple Law is out there dropping comments on Twitter, and they're fantastic. Grim says, wait, what? I'll show you just a second, okay? Just hear me out. We got Gen X Medic. Okay. First, that shirt is so Minnesota that I think Prince wore it. Prince birthed it. He birthed it. Also, the people fighting over the situation are mostly wanting to see violence and chaos. This isn't about principles. It's an excuse. That may be. That may be true. I'm not here to argue with that. But again, super tips, for whatever reason, I'm retarded. I broke the audio of it. It's going to take me some time to fix it. Like, I can't do it on the show or we'll be here all night. So if you want to send in super chats, that's great. Another thing you can do, which I love, is this. Chief Vince El Jefe gifting 5 memberships to the channel. Memberships are a great way to participate in the show. You don't have to say anything. 5 people, well, in this case, 5 people get the opportunity to be members for a month when they otherwise might not. That means more people in the member streams when this lazy piece of shit does them, more people to participate and chat. So it's a great way to do that. Feel free to gift all the members you want. Feel free to put your member forcibly into the hands of another on the stream. Let's do that as much as possible. Taking notes says, lol, the tyranny understander has a YouTube channel. Exactly. The fact that you can go out on Twitter and YouTube and talk bad about this government right now. Here's the level of tyranny we don't have. Here's the level of tyranny we don't have. The governor of Minnesota has declared insurrection against the United States. He has called up the National Guard to be an armed force against the lawful execution of ICE's duties. He has called up the National Guard to stand against lawful behavior by the federal government. That's fucking crazy. That's an insane sentence. Tim Pool was finally right. That's civil war. It's a little one. We've got the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota talking about negotiating a peace settlement with the Trump administration. What the fuck are we doing? We're worried about tyranny because some dumbass got himself shot? Like, it has nothing to do with the legality of it. Has everything to do with some dumbass got in the way of law enforcement and is surprised that he ended up on the wrong side of some bullets. And we've got a governor who has called in the National Guard to fight the fucking feds. What? I remember the last time that happened. What was it? 1863? Holy shit. Holy shit. Explaining to my child that we are in civil war and we're in the state that's the bad one is crazy to me. I don't know if you know this, but ICE has the authority to do what they're doing. They do. Not only does ICE have that authority already, there was an extra bill passed by the current Congress that reinforced and funded it specifically. It's fucking nuts. The maximum power of the president and the Congress in agreement on how to do something. They're at their maximum. A Supreme Court likely not touch this. Like, that is so political and they're in alignment. What are we going to do? And then the answer to that is, well, let's call up the, let's just go ahead and call up the National Guard so they can fight the federal government. Hey, Walls, you get out there. You get out there and fight them. Let's see how that goes. We can solve this problem real fucking fast. Tiffany says Jake Lang was a January 6er pardoned by Trump. Yes, I know that much. I'm just saying, like, the validity of what he says. People say he's a grifter, blah, blah, blah. I was just saying, I don't really care about that. That wasn't the point of what I was saying. Jacob Lang, like, he can have his own thing. You can like him, dislike him. I don't give a shit. I don't know anything about him. No investment. We've got Jen Sissons as a new member. Thank you, Jen, for joining up. Really, really happy to do that. I'll get the membership counter going in just a minute. Tiffany says, NFL rules apply. No slow motion replay. Actually, most of my questions in this one are not around the time of the shooting. So far, they're not around the time of the shooting. Right now, my questions have to do with everything leading up to the shooting. Why has he got his arm on this other person? Why is ICE shoving people? Like, what the fuck's going on? Raggedy Man says, old folks used to say, mind your business. Mind your business. We're going to talk about that too. I keep saying what we're going to talk about, but we are. There's also an EMT on this one, and they let him through. Actually, I lied. He's not an EMT. He's a pediatrician, and he's going to go perform apparently life-saving trauma operation on the man who's just shot like 15 times or 7 times or whatever it was. He's like, no, look, I look at kids for a living. Wait, let me reword that. No, I'm a doctor. Let me in. And they're like, why? And he goes and he cries like a pussy. An ER doctor, a trauma doctor sees this guy shot and they're like, well, yeah, it's Tuesday or whatever. They deal with this shit. This guy's a pediatrician. He doesn't deal with this. What are we talking about? But he goes up, he's going to do life-saving care on someone. What, you have just a bunch of blood, like in packets? What are you going to do? Pump those into his body? Yeah, you're going to get the IV drip going? Hook it up to your wiener? Like, what are you planning to do? The man was just shot a shitload of times. But we have his affidavit. We'll go through that also. Random Unbreaded Commentator says, wait, so your dealer's name was Derek? Hi, Derek. No, my dealer's name was not Derek, but I will never, ever, ever say my dealer's name. That will not happen. But it wasn't Derek. Fuck. I shouldn't have said even that much. Now the non-Dereks are going to be after me. Austin, 9301 says, swap aviators for pit vipers and frost your tips. I only frost one tip, and it's not hair. It's not it. Tracy Z. Collins, can we please have a Legal Eagle Super Tips avatar? Bad legal advice only. Yes, we can. Ryan? I know, see, if I just yell loud enough, I know Ryan hears me. He's got like a supernatural power. Ryan, you're unfired. I need a Legal Eagle Super Tip voice, and I need it stat. Tim Pool plays guitars for his chickens. That's true. That's true. Random Unbreaded Commentator says, Kevin acting like he needs to put a burqa back on. He's just acting a little bit of a fool. But that's people's prerogative. Random Unbreaded Commentator says, Lips Loya gonna karaoke Soup Time and Pressure Queen. Dude, she karaoke's Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. It is so it's unreal. Like you cannot believe that it happened. I don't know how to show you guys that. We're going to figure it out for the member show because like the copyright issue, but and she's now got her her karaoke videos. She's got them set up as children's videos. They're made for children, so you can't comment on them specifically, and they get different distribution, but they also don't get shit for advertising. So that's funny. Just Poopin says, please reach out to Elijah. He needs friends right now. What's going on with Elijah? My boy Elijah Schaefer. What could possibly be happening now? Like he had his thing with Cash Patel, and then like he's like, I'm in El Salvador, and now it's different. Like I don't know what's going on. Someone fill me in if I say that. Stella AI VTuber says that entire outfit needs deportation by ICE. You can't send it back to Pakistan. Actually, technically, I believe this shirt is from Turkey or maybe France. Both of them gay. Debbie Baker gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Debbie, for that. And Sarah Nevada gifting 5 memberships as well. Make sure if you get a membership like from Ash Elizabeth gifting 1 membership, if you get one, go ahead and say thanks to the person who gifted it, and make sure you show up for our our member stream. I think it's you're gonna have a good time. Michael W says, if these people actually think ICE is the bloodthirsty Gestapo executioners they say would they really be following them around like they are? No. Nope. They'd actually be helping. Like they would help out. They'd be like, you know what? Like I'm on your side. I'm on your side because your side is the bullets. Jacob Shed says, just joined. Any update on Arid's bogus HRO against you? No, I cannot talk about it at present. I am still under a gag order as the hearing that we have started so many months ago is still technically ongoing. So until that hearing is adjourned, I am not able to speak about it. I will update you as soon as I can. But until then, no. I wish I could. Fletcher Boy says, late and gay fee. Thank you. Shelly C says, visualizing Tampon Tim trying to stop these crazy liberals with his jazzy hands makes me laugh. You guys, stop it. He looks like Bernie Sanders, but like more put together, I think. We says, a member for 24 months. Thank you for that. And D What has gifted a membership as well. That catches us up on everything. I apologize for the delay we had starting up with the me trying to fix the audio on the super tips. So I do need to update the banner. We do have 18 members tonight so far. And I think we do have 1 micropene. Okay. There we go. We do have our banner going up. It is sponsored by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Since we're behind, I won't do a long ad for them right now. Just like Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop, it is not a long ad. It is a long minus. It is actually, it's not even a long minus. It's a micro. It's, you know what? If you've got a little thing and you need some chicken, Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. But that's it on this one. That's all we got. I don't even, we're going to have to let that one go for a little bit. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go to Legal Eagle first. Let's go to Legal fucking Eagle. Okay. All right. We're going to change this tab. Boom, boom. Whew. All of my little windows went crazy for a minute. Jason Webb Maui says, dude, Pretti is a crisis actor. He was already killed in Gaza. He's IDF. Name is Malkia Gross. Dr. Lee Merritt posted this. That's cool. I don't know anything about that. Let's see. Drex is unused Baldo. Says volume coming out at the same rate as Curticus micropenicus gets wet. By that I mean not at all. Also, please No more Megan singing. I didn't put Megan singing on there. That's a different lady. That's not Megan. That's not Megan. Okay, guys, here we go. I'm very sorry about this. This is Legal Eagle's response to Alex Pretti, or part of it.
And by God, that's commendable.
He's already crying. By God, it's commendable. It's commendably dead, you dummy. But look at this. He is green screened in front of this. He does have some sort of breath action going. I can only imagine he's in a cooler with a green screen. But holy fuck. Holy shit. He is crying. We're going to go back.
And by God, that's commendable. And we need to continue to stand up, because they did too. And look, you don't need to be a lawyer to know.
We need to stand up because they did too. How'd that go? How'd that work out for Renee Good and Alex Pretti? How'd that fucking work out? Don't sign me up. I don't want to be on that list. No, thank you. You know why? Because I don't really have any problem at all with ICE enforcing immigration law. I don't want it. It's not my preferred outcome, but it is lawful. It is within their jurisdiction. It is within the purview of the president to deport bad people who are here illegally and good people who are here illegally because they're still here illegally. It is the purview of the president to remove any and all of them. And I can't really have a fucking problem with that. We have so many avenues to legal citizenship. We have so many avenues to legal immigration. We have so many avenues to refugee and asylee status, depending on where you're from. We live in a world that's really complicated. It's not as straightforward as it was when we passed the INA back in 1967. But that doesn't mean that we don't have the mechanism for dealing with the problems that we have. We could change some policies. We change some funding. We could do some really great things. But also, until we do, this is the fucking law. And it's what people voted for. I can't really have a problem with that. But don't sign me up to interfere. I don't want to die.
Know that their shootings were not justified. But I think we need to
we know that their shootings were not justified. Now, hold on. Locals needs to be disciplined. He says we know their shootings were not justified. Well, Renee Good shooting is definitely justified. I'm sorry. There's not like ambiguity. There's not like on that one. You can always get a judge and a jury to convict. You can always do that. But legally, there's no ambiguity there. The facts are straightforward. There's not a mystery. There's a theoretical possibility that some other fact might exist out there that we don't know about that could change everything. It's really, really unlikely. And actually, by the day, as every day passes, it's more and more unlikely that that's the case. Renee Good shooting is justified. You don't have to like it. You can hate the feds. I do. Just because something is shootified. Just because someone gets shootified and their justicery happens doesn't mean that you have to like the outcome, agree with it, or not want change. You can want change. Just know what you're changing. Know the reasons why it was lawful. Know the reasons why you shouldn't be surprised when he never gets charged. And know not to do what she did so that you live through the encounter.
take a step back too to recognize that, ICE and CBP shouldn't have been there in the first place.
What the fuck are you talking about? ICE and CBP shouldn't have been there in the first place. First of all, ICE should definitely be there. CBP can be there. They're within 100 miles of a border entry because there's a major metropolitan airport in Bloomington, Minnesota, or a major international airport. CBP and ICE are already in Minnesota and they should be there. We are a hotbed of illegal immigration and fraud related directly to it. Induced criminal behavior stemming directly from unlawful immigration is right in the alley, right in the alley where ICE fists, brother. You cannot. What are you talking about? ICE shouldn't be there. Who's going to do it? The city of Minneapolis and their police department won't. The major metro counties, they will not comply and they will not assist ICE in these roundups, in prisoner transfers or anything. My county does, like other outstate Minnesota counties that are very conservative do. But if the inner city or the city, whatever, where a hotbed of illegal immigration is taking place right under the noses of everybody, leading to massive amounts of fraud, all of that's going on, and they're not supposed to enforce? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And these aren't nice people that they're picking up. These are convicted rapists. These are people with convictions for felony assault, multiple DUIs. Convicted rapists of women, men, and children. These are not, oh, your neighbor that owns the store. Well, don't go to that fucking halal market then, because that's scarier. That's scary. What? No, this is your friend. This is your person. No, they're not. I don't know people who do that. I don't want to know people who do that. But let's stop again pretending that ICE is just running around. Oh, they're just picking up children. That's not how this works.
They have no right and no duty to do crowd control.
The crowd shouldn't be interfering with ICE. You retard. What do you mean no duty to do crowd control? The crowd doesn't belong there. ICE actually does. They're engaged in a lawful operation. The crowd is protesting. And as long as they're not in the way, fine. But they are in the way. Stop pretending that they're not.
To be on the front lines using weapons against protesters. These people should not be armed. We've sort of grown.
These people should not be armed. These people should not be armed. What are you talking about? In America, we arm our LEOs. I know they may not in like Britain or something, in other places. I know that they may not always arm their LEOs, but here we do. And maybe you don't like that or whatever, but the idea that they shouldn't be armed, they're arresting people who are wanted for or convicted for rape and murder. If the police were going to arrest a convicted rapist or murderer that has nothing to do with ICE or immigration, guess what? They're bringing fucking guns. They arrested me. They didn't hold me at gunpoint. They held the other two people in my house at gunpoint, though. There was no reason for that. We weren't a danger to anybody at all. But so they don't know that. They don't know that at all. They just know that they're in a house yelling, "Come out." And the person might come out with a gun. Especially if that person's going to go back to a country they don't want to go to and might have already raped or murdered someone or both. Bonus round. These are not simple, these are not juvenile delinquency arrests. These are potentially very dangerous people. Kira Zola says, nobody cries for someone they didn't know before they were dead. Your joke about what bathroom Lynn stole her kid made me shoot soda out of my nose all over my keyboard. Sorry for your keyboard's loss. Let's see. Here we go. This is good. Let's go ahead and talk about this. They had a warrant and you threw it on the floor, yet you act like you would follow commands. I followed every command that they gave me. All I asked them to do was show me the probable cause statement for the warrant. They didn't. They didn't have to, but I asked them to. They handed me the warrant. Useless to me. I'm standing there. I don't want to sit and hold the stupid warrant itself. It doesn't matter at that point. They'd already busted into my house. Had they shown me the warrant, I would have let them in, but they wouldn't do that. But I stood, I listened to everything they said. I followed all of their commands. They asked me to get out of the car. And at first I said, hey, you just show me the warrant and I'll get out of the car. He said, I don't have it. I said, well, I don't really feel like getting out of the car then. He says, well, you have to. I said, cool, just show me the warrant. Like, no big deal. Had a conversation. Hey, guess who didn't get shot? Me. You know why? I just listened. I knew bad things were happening. I knew I was probably going to go to jail. It wasn't going to be good. I guess I could have fist fought the cops. Like, that's the mentality that people have right now at these protests. The mentality is they should fist fight the cops. And believe me, I thought the cops had done tons of things wrong in their execution of the warrant, especially at the time. What was I going to do? Wrestle them? Hey, buddy, let's put on some singlets and oil up. What do you think this is? Like, what do you think life with law enforcement is? Do you think you're going to do that? Cyrenius Akari says, these people also want adolescent legal consequences after 24 because brain development. Tracy Z. Collins says, Trump is speaking live right now. Where? Alex Pretti is not good. Getting shot. Not wonderful. Where is he? Where is Trump speaking right now? I guess maybe I can find it on X. I'm bad at finding stuff on Twitter. Let's see. I'm not seeing this. Saying that Trump is speaking right now is a meme. Okay, fine.
Inured to it, but they are not enforcing criminal law. Even when they are enforcing immigration laws, which they are not right now.
They're not. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. What are you talking about? There's news story after news story after news story of ICE picking people up. They're just doing it in groups with too many people. And of course, they get accosted when they have less than too many people or whatever. But like, what do you mean they're not doing it right now? What are they doing? You think they're just... Does this fucking dork think that ICE is like going out to the protest? It's like, you know what? We're going to police the protest. I don't think that's what's happening. Maybe I'm wrong. Darth Scipio says, Nick Ricada Law is too chicken to have an opposing lawyer call your bullshit to your face. Look, just now that you've mentioned chicken, this is brought to you by Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. Kurt's Dating Advice and Chicken Shop. It is your one-stop shop for all of your bullshit needs. Darn Scipio, what lawyer wants to call me out now? Which one? Which one should I call my bullshit to my face? I haven't even said anything yet except just philosophical points about, hey, maybe like how we do protests is leading to bad interactions and maybe we should rethink it. Not that people shouldn't do it, but they should rethink it to be more effective because we don't need to gin up controversy to get the message out. The message goes out. The signal can't be stopped at present. What are we vaping? This is orange mango nicotine. It's nothing too crazy. You won't ever see me vaping. Like I have a prescription. You won't see me vaping weed on a stream. I'd be asleep.
It is state-sponsored protest control of people exercising their First Amendment rights.
What are they protesting? And why do you think that they're protest controlling? Again, does this dork think that ICE is going out and they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to deal with these protests instead of other stuff? Okay, I don't think so. Maybe I'm stupid.
At best, they are enforcing regulatory and civil laws, and there's no reason they should have.
They get to enforce regulatory and civil laws, but what he's leaving out, this is really amazing. A regulatory and civil law that is enforced is a removal order for someone who is unlawfully present and has been adjudicated not able to stay, adjudicated deportable. They then get a removal order. The enforcement of that removal order is the enforcement of administrative and regulatory law. It's not criminal. It's civil. These are not like they are criminals. The criminal side of it gets prosecuted by other people. ICE is there to remove. That's their job. Find, acquire, kick the fuck out. And these are scum people often. Rapists, murderers, assaulters, like drunk drivers who are not just drunk drivers, but like repeat drunk drivers who harm people. These are the people who go first. Kate of the Swiss says, you'd be better served to have the Texas Law Hawk on. That guy is so cool. Well, his commercials were. I don't know if he's actually cool. Hey, you cool? You cool? You cool? You cool? Are they banning vapes in Minnesota? Not to my knowledge. Not yet. They probably will, though.
Firearms in the first place. I don't even think should have less lethals like pepper balls, and they shouldn't be using tear gas and pepper spray and bear spray.
Why? Why shouldn't they? Why should they not have crowd control options when they have a hostile crowd? Demonstrated over and over and over again. Raggedy Man says legal eagle blows. Yeah. Yes. But again, why shouldn't they have less lethal options? Why shouldn't they have crowd control options? Why should they not be able to do their job without being accosted by a crowd? And if they are accosted by the crowd, why should they not have the equipment to deal with it? What are we talking about?
On protesters, that's insane. It would be as if we gave every postal worker and every person who delivers the mail, an AR-15.
Hey, retard. No, it isn't, for one. But two, the post office has an armed enforcement agent division. What do you think happens? Who do you think has drug dogs sniffing out, what comes through the mail? Who do you think does this? Who do you think tracks down the people who exchange child pornography by mail? Who do you think does it? Guess what? They're armed when they do.
They don't need it to complete their duties, and it's insane that they have.
And I don't want armed federal employees for the most part. Armed IRS, I don't think necessary. I think if IRS has enforcement, they could have the FBI's assistance or whoever may be necessary for their enforcement. I don't think the IRS accountants need to be armed. I don't think that's true. I don't think maybe Fish and Wildlife, I don't think all of those guys need to be armed, but some of them do. Some of them do. Dealing with poachers is terrifying. But anyway, this is just nonsense.
Been armed and are wearing flak jackets and are obviously wearing masks for no other reason than to obscure their identity and prevent accountability.
No, what are you talking? For no other reason than to obscure their identity. Yes, although there are other identifying characteristics on them, like, you know, a badge number, a number that can be brought up, like it can be recorded and can be brought up against a federal database to see who it is, rather than have their faces exposed when they deal with, you know, like, I don't know, cartel members and shit like that. People who deal in human trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, people who kill like family members of these guys. But we don't need to go to cartels. We have seen these people get doxxed with the intention of causing them fear, apprehension, and even harm. We've seen it already happen to Jonathan Ross. They justified, in 1 second, they justified the headscarves.
Obviously, the shootings are unjustified, but the entire situation that recently Alex
You can hear his testicles trying to drop out of his sinuses, and they just can't.
Pretti unfortunately found himself in, and the woman next to him, they should not have been pushed aside by these putative federal officers for exercising their first.
They're not putative federal officers. They are federal officers. And I don't know that they're pushed aside for exercising their First Amendment rights. I know they're in the road, and I know that the ICE agents didn't want them there. I don't know that ICE had a justification for pushing them out of the road. I don't know that. That's one of the things I hope to find out on the video in just a minute that we're going to watch from Andy Signor, the most reasonable assessor of these things that exist. But Andy does have apparently a compilation video of like all the different stuff. So we're going to use that. But I don't know that the ICE agent shoving the woman that then Pretti decided to go get in the way of, I don't know that that was a legal use of force. I don't know that they were justified in doing that. And that may be what leads to one conviction at least. But I also don't know that they shouldn't do that. And I do know for a fact that Alex Pretti should not have physically come into contact with an officer just because the officer shoved a woman. He doesn't agree with it. Sorry. What do you think is going to happen?
First Amendment rights. They should not have been restrained. They should not have been pepper sprayed while they were restrained. And of course,
why? Why should they not? I mean, maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they should have. You haven't told me why they shouldn't have. You just as a principle, they shouldn't be pepper sprayed while they're restrained. They weren't restrained really well. I don't know if you fucking noticed. They sat there struggling for a while.
They should not have been shot and murdered while they were prone and restrained.
Only one of them was shot and murdered. What is he talking about? They. All right, so that's legal. I just really like, guys.
And
He's fucking crying. Be a grown ass man. Be a fucking attorney. You look with a cold, hard gaze at the world because the shit that you've had to see and deal with is horrible. Fucking crying in public? What's wrong with you? Dark Schwartz Rising says, do you think the number of rounds fired will come into play? Maybe. I don't think it's as obvious on that. And like, I have my initial thoughts, but I haven't been through all of it yet. So we'll take a look. Emotional Support Chad says, I cannot stand these self-righteous, limp-wristed losers sacrificing their dignity, sometimes their lives, to defend third worlders who hate them. Makes you like wonder, again, I don't know what the mindset is. I don't have a protest mindset. I don't go places where I could get shot or stabbed. Typically, I don't go places where I can get tear gassed unless you ask for it. Like, that's not my thing. Other people are cool. Like, you want to do that. But so I have trouble getting into the mindset of it. I really do. I also know that, like, I have a voice. I have a voice. I have a way to distribute that voice across the entire globe at my fingertips. I have it on my cell phone. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to go anywhere to say whatever message I want. Now, granted, my voice has more reach than other people. Some other people's has considerably more than mine, right? But that's the world, man. That's the world. The opportunity to speak is in the palm of everyone's fucking hand these days. No one has an excuse anymore. But that also means we don't have to protest in the way that we do. We don't have to get out there and try and like impede ICE from doing their job. We can say we don't agree with this. Get the fuck out of our city. You can see it all day. Shout it from the rooftops, the virtual ones, or at least get Grok to say it or whatever. Gen X Medic says, seriously, can you imagine this guy defending you? His arguments are utterly awful and defy logic. No, and I don't think he defended anybody. Devin is not a criminal lawyer. I'm a criminal lawyer. Devin is not a criminal defense attorney. He's a commercial attorney. You know, like he's negotiating deals, and that's, he's talking about probably the Uniform Commercial Code. He's talking about negotiating out like ongoing business expectations that fall outside of a contract and how those become incorporated into the expectation of transactions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's sitting there doing that stuff, or he was until he decided to ruin YouTube. But I don't think he does criminal defense. I don't think he ever did. And it shows. It shows. Real Patriots Party says, it's Megan's fault. Everything is Megan's fault. And that's true. It's 100% true. Okay, speaking of people whose fault it is, let's go to Andy Signor. And it's Andy Signor's fault that these people are dead. That's a joke. That's not true. That was rude. Andy has a big heart. It's not a fat joke either. Andy has a big heart for this stuff. He believes he is fighting the good fight or whatever. He believes that he is, a part of this counter movement, this counter narrative. And that's great. That's great. That's participation. Andy is doing it the way I want people to act. Like he is speaking using his influence, his sphere of influence. And it's a big sphere with a lot of gravity. He's speaking using his platform that he has built up. And if that's what he wants to do with it, like go for it. I disagree with what he has to say a lot of times. And I may poke a little bit of fun at him, on some of these things. But he's exercising his First Amendment rights in the way that, makes sense, in the way that is actually effective. Like, he's got a big audience. I don't really know why, and I don't mean that as a dick thing to say. I just don't get it because it's not my type of content. So Andy Signor reposted, this is earlier today. We've compiled every cell phone video angle of Alex Pretty's shooting by federal agents. Is it Pretti or Pretti? Does it matter? Like I said, pretty much dead. Including what happened before and after. This administration is lying to us. This isn't politics, it's accountability. Staying silent when the evidence contradicts power makes you complicit. That isn't true. I just want to point that out. The nature of power is that they don't need complicit actors. Like they don't need them when you have power. Maybe you're trying to get power, then you need accomplices, then you need complicit actors. But power is power, and power is exercised individually, typically. At some level, someone makes the call for some purpose, right? But staying silent when the evidence contradicts power makes you complicit. No, it doesn't, because you may just not agree. Like even if the evidence contradicts the power, you still may not disagree with the power, and that's fine too. People seem to forget that. Like you can agree with quote unquote the power. Speaking of the power, the MG Law and their viewers just joined. Say hello. Don't tell me what to fucking do. Hey, what's up? What's up, the MG Law and your viewers? Hopefully you guys are having a good Monday. Good start to the day. I'm still a little like fuzzy upstairs from this mild illness or whatever it is. But we're going to keep going. So here's his little speech. But now we're going to watch the video. Okay, I've not watched all of this. This is interesting. Limp-wristed Redux says Robert Barnes versus Andrew Bronca could be interesting. Yeah, two people I like and respect, two different perspectives on what's happened here, and both of them can be a little bit feisty. And so that would be great. It would be a great discussion. I'd be happy to facilitate anything like that, but also like they don't need my help to do it. You know what I mean? Like Robert Barnes has Viva Fry's channel, which is massive over on Rumble and pretty damn big on YouTube. And then Andrew, of course, has his own channel, which is fantastic and growing. Growing at the rate of ICE-related shootings. Here we go.
We have to start at the beginning. Cell phone footage shows that agents approached Alex Pretti earlier. He doesn't seem to be obstructing anything, but agents aren't happy, and they...
All right. So now I'm already pissed off. When I clicked on this earlier, I had it muted, so I don't know how much editorializing will happen here, but we'll try and keep the editorializing accountable, okay? Bronca and Nate had a lovely spat earlier. I think people are having trouble with this one. Let's see. James Carg says it's getting close to open war, sadly. Comply or die is what this all is. It really isn't. Like, I don't know. We could maybe get there. We can maybe get to comply or die, but right now, people are not complying and not dying in droves. They're just happy. They're just living through it all most of the time. But when you raise tensions and you raise the opportunity for people to clash with police or have an encounter with police, no matter what law enforcement agency it is, the likelihood of someone getting shot increases dramatically. Any contact increases the likelihood of someone getting shot somewhere. But it is perfectly okay for you to have this opinion. I'll mildly disagree just because when I look at this and I go, I don't like this. I don't like these outcomes. But look at all the work they're doing to have tyranny. Like if they have actual tyranny, they just shoot people. Like you don't need all this. You don't need all this fuck around, find out stuff. You don't need someone to drive a car at an officer or anything like that. You just shoot them. That's comply or die. And we don't have that. That's good. I'm glad. Billdozer74 says, Barnes blocked me on X today after simple and respectful pushback on his assertion that the officers all knew Pretti was disarmed. Keck, I'm still a fan, still respect his opinion, though. I'm sure you can get back in his good graces at some point. Okay, back to the James Clark. Sorry. Comply or die is what all this is, and no real American will just kneel to that blindly. ICE has every obligation to explain all cases. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. The fact anyone gives them immunity is sickening. Well, I mean, they have immunity from state prosecution largely because, bro, like, okay, I'm going to say it again. This is hard for people. And you can disagree with me and be incorrect all day. Jonathan Ross, as far as all of the evidence that's out there right now, is 100% justified in shooting Renee Good. 100%. Full, thorough analysis of everything that we've seen, all the video that's come out. Again, outside of some statement that may exist that we don't know about. Outside of that, by all accounts, he is not guilty. Justified shoot, not even worth charging. Shouldn't be charged because the state cannot bring a case that can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he murdered her, that he did not have justification. They can't do it. based on what we've seen so far. Okay. With that being said, the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis each tried to pressure the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to pursue an investigation and make a political charge of Jonathan Ross. That's what they tried to do. Openly attempted to leverage politics into a charging decision. You can say that politics are involved in a non-charging decision. Good. Non-charging is the way to go. Because remember, the person charged is the smallest entity. They're just an individual. The person charged is not ICE. The person charged was an ICE agent, is maybe, is still an ICE agent at present. But the person charged would just be an individual in that moment, necessarily, because the state would have to show that he's acting outside of his duties, outside of his, of his job, of his jurisdiction, or outside of just the scope of what he's supposed to be doing. That he acted in such a way that he is not acting as an ICE agent, that he transcends that into an individual criminal. Okay? Mayor Fry and Governor Walz demanded a full and thorough investigation and implied heavily that he should be charged. Prior to that investigation even being possible, they're already stating that. The moment that they said that, the FBI had to remove their access to the investigation file. They had to remove their access to any cooperation because they wanted a political prosecution of an individual. That's bad. It's a bad thing. Bad. Roll up a newspaper and beat them. Bad people. We don't have a justice system that works like that. It can't. Sorry, I don't like this federal operation. This guy now goes to prison. Well, but kind of looks like it was justified. And by kind, I mean it is. No, we want him charged anyway for the people or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, so you can get a jury to put him in jail because of your politics? No. I know it sucks because it's a government worker and I hate the fucking government. And I want the government to have to go through misery at all stages, all the time. But I don't want them falsely charged with murder. This is not Renee Good. This is Alex Pretti. This is a different case. And I am not, I have not made up my mind on it. Let's take more of a look. Sorry, we're going to rewind it because it's editorializing. I wasn't listening.
To really figure out what happened, we have to look at every angle. We have to start at the beginning. Cell phone footage shows that agents approached Alex Pretti earlier. He doesn't seem to be obstructing anything, but agents aren't happy and they push.
He doesn't seem to be obstructing anything. He's obstructing a lane of traffic right there. He's in the middle of the fucking road. If you stand in the middle of the road, you get arrested because they're like, not only are you committing a petty crime, you're not safe. You're not safe standing in the middle of a road in an urban area. And also, you make it unsafe for a driver who is maybe not paying as much attention as they should be, looks up at the last minute, sees your dumbass in the road and has to swerve, and he runs over a bus full of school children and puppies. Or he just hits you or whatever. You can't be in the fucking road. What are you doing? But I'm not saying he should be arrested. Look, clear him out of the road. But you can't. If you guys did this outside of the context of some gay fucking protest, you just go out to a major city and stand in the road downtown. Stand in the road with a cell phone out and be like, ICE sucks. I'm sorry. Handcuffs. Get the fuck out of the road. But let's keep going.
him to the side of the road, into the slippery ice. The second agent we just passed.
Into the slippery ice. Right, not the non-slippery ice. They had that available. They didn't use that. They used the slippery stuff. Fuck off. I hate editorialized shit. I want to editorialize.
This is also the one that pushes him later. Soon after, 2 more individuals are seen walking by a federal agent in front of an unidentified vehicle. It's unclear what is being said between these protesters and this.
I can guess. Get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. Now. Move. Move, 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 move. What are we talking about here? What? Oh, it's unclear what's being said. So what? Who cares what's being said? Get the fuck out of the way. Don't approach. Guys, why are you approaching a cop? I can think of nowhere else on earth I would less rather be than by a cop at any given moment.
Agent Alex Pretti enters the scene with his camera documenting the exchange. He's also
Cool that he's documenting the exchange. Also cool that he's, what's this number? What's this? Is he fanning himself off because he's too warm, or is he doing something really stupid like waving traffic through an area where traffic isn't allowed? I don't know. I literally don't know the answer.
also seen waving other cars around the agents. Things clearly escalated.
You can't wave cars around an agent. You put the agent in danger. What the fuck? You are not a traffic cop. Get out of the road, you pussy. Get out. What are we talking about? Guys, we're still going to get into the question of whether or not this is a justified shooting. But Jesus fuck, get out of the way. You do not have the authorization to wave cars near officers engaged in policing. You do not have the authority to get between a cop and someone they're pepper spraying. You don't. You don't. Does that mean you need to die? No. Does it mean you might? Yeah. What are you thinking?
Cell phone video catches Pretti screaming.
Do not push them into the traffic.
Do not push them into the traffic. Fuck off. Who are you? Hey, Good Logic has rated the stream. What's up, brother? Heard you had a spirited debate over on your channel with Branca and Nate the lawyer. I do encourage, like I did briefly just have you guys on in the background. I was trying to fix some other stuff. So I was stealing your program. I was thieving it intentionally. But anyway, I do encourage people to check out that debate and discussion. You'll probably get some really good insight and probably some really bad insight too. Like this is a emotional. Like I'm emotional right now. Like I'm like Legal Eagle. I'm crying like a fucking bitch. I'm not really. That's a joke. But this is emotional, and it's this is a harder case than Renee Good. Very hard case. So probably some good stuff being said, probably some bad stuff being said. We're all still doing this, but I know that the 3 men involved are all caring and gentle, and so that that makes it very erotic and also worth watching. Dom Man in T1 says Neurodivergent 1 is not gay to get pounded by Anton's meat from King of Biltong at Biltong USA. Dude, Biltong is good. I like biltong. Put that fucking meat in my mouth. Dry it out, Big Daddy.
With cars driving by, Pretti is clearly worried, confronts the agent, who violently shoves the woman into Pretti's direction, as the agent pushes forward and presses against Pretti's neck.
Agent, first push of the woman, good. Trying to push 2 people at once, kind of weak. He comes across looking like a loser, because he's like pushing upwards into like their neck area, and it just isn't effective. That's all.
Another woman approaches, and the agent shoves her into the snow.
Okay, so it looks like the ICE agent, I wasn't sure about this. It looks like the ICE agent shoves Pretti and this chica over here, and then so he's like got his arm around her. He's got her in a headlock. He's like, yeah, I got you. No big deal. Is he gonna DDT her? I'm not sure. But he does have her in like a pseudo headlock. He's like, here, please be embraced into my bosoms. And that's what happened. But I was confused about this. So it looks like the ICE agent shoves the woman and shoves Pretti and this chick. Pretti and this chick first, and then he's going to shove this chick, and she's going to get tossed. Like, he's pissed that he got a bad shove in or something. He's a bad day. Chipotle put extra guac on his burrito, but it was that like gray guac that Chipotle has because they can't fucking keep it green.
No. The woman was nowhere near him.
I'm sorry. That was a much better push. He nailed it. I'm still not 100% sure what's going on, but what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing ICE over here. I'm seeing a roadway. They've removed people from the roadway. There's an ICE vehicle around here. I don't know if there are other ICE vehicles trying to move through. I'm not sure, but they don't want people in the street. You're not a traffic cop. You don't have the authority to be in the street. It's actually unlawful for you to stand in the street. People do seem to forget that these things are criminal acts.
We even have an angle inside the car.
Whoa!
No one touched the agent. And that's when Alex...
It doesn't... Okay. I'm going to stop this every 10 seconds. He doesn't touch the agent isn't relevant. At this point, it's not relevant. Whether or not anyone has touched the agent. I still don't know why the agent has shoved these people. And like I said, that shove of these three people by this agent might make this agent guilty of murder. I'm not saying right, wrong, whatever. I'm saying that he has engaged a level of force that may have been excessive on its face. I don't know. That's where we go to trial, right? Like that's where you go, okay, why are you making this shove? What have you determined? What do the other officers see? Do the other officers agree with the shove? Maybe they don't. Maybe they're on the radio going, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Stop it. That shove may make this guy criminally liable for murder. I don't necessarily think so, but we got to consider that he potentially, in this case, has actually initiated a physical confrontation.
Steps in. He places his empty hand up and proceeds to get pepper sprayed.
Okay, we're going to go back here because this is important. He places his empty hand up. He's made contact right here in this frame with the pepper spray. No, you can't do that. You cannot do this.
No one touched the agent, and that's when Alex steps in. He places his empty hand.
His hand goes up. He's getting pepper sprayed right now. Here's the problem that I've seen so far. He is going to step in to this agent, and he's going to obstruct the deployment of pepper spray, and he's going to make contact physically with him.
Hand up.
In love.
And proceed.
I said step in. Okay, so the agent, I missaw that earlier. The agent comes up to him. He's still put his hands on an agent's less lethal pepper spray. He is still engaged with this agent in a way that he shouldn't be, but that might be the agent's fault. And again, this is the same agent that shoved beforehand. So I think this guy is at risk presently from what I've seen for a murder charge. I do think he is at risk for a murder or a manslaughter charge.
Needs to get pepper sprayed.
Dude, your kid tested positive for cocaine. Yeah, it was really frustrating finding out she was holding.
Viciously. Now let's listen to DHS and the Border Patrol explain what happened.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers.
Okay, you got him going at the same time? Yes, they're reading prepared statements.
With a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
You just watched all.
I feel like I'm in church. Oh my God. Peace be with you. Jesus. No, like actually, and also with your spirit or whatever. Aren't you still on probation for possession of cocaine, ketamine? Yep, 5 years. Could be as young as 2.5 years. We'll see, but 5 years is the main part of it. But early completion, early completion is the goal. Not normally, but in this case, it is.
All the angles. At no point did Alex Pretti ever brandish a.
He doesn't need to brandish a weapon. Okay, here's the thing. What is he doing right now? If he is inviting cars into this area and he's putting these people at risk, and he can't do that. Again, he's committing a crime right now.
Weapon. He's only ever holding a cell phone, and the agents approach him.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
Okay, here's the deal. I don't know who needs to hear this. If an officer is engaged in a Terry stop, which is an investigative stop because they have reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot, like you standing in a fucking roadway. If they are engaging in a Terry stop, they have every right to disarm you. They will disarm you every time for officer safety. That is upheld by the Supreme Court over and over and over and over and over again. I know, your Second Amendment. Guess what? The Supreme Court has said that the officer's safety trumps your Second Amendment right. What need do you have of the gun during an investigative stop by the police officer? Now, what they'll do in a Terry stop is they will investigate. If they find there's no criminal activity, they'll return the firearm to you and say, "Be on your way, good citizen." You can have every permit on the planet. In Minnesota, you're required, I believe still, you're required to inform the officer that you are carrying and that you are permitted to carry. And you're required to turn over your firearm when requested. I don't recommend reaching for that firearm. I don't recommend that. The officer may ask you to reach for it. You can say, "You know what, officer, I would much prefer if you grabbed that because I don't want to reach for a gun in your presence or in any other, I don't want to see anybody else do that. If you want to just go ahead and grab that right out of my holster and you got a free hand while you're down there, you can give me a little thigh rub. You can do that. The police officer will tell you how he would like to disarm you. First, I'd like to slide into your DMs and I want to break down your walls a little bit, that's how I'm going to disarm you. You know what he's going to do? You got a fucking gun. Cops are not required to keep themselves in particular danger during the investigation of a criminal act. Terry versus Ohio. It's been this way since the 1950s. Why do you have to make it weird? Look, if a cop's dealing with me, he's dealing with weird. It's just how it's going to be. It doesn't matter if it's a gun, a taser, like a sharp ice cream cone, a glass, like a drinking glass, a bottle of Tabasco sauce. They have the right to disarm you. They have the right to say, you need to disarm yourself in this way. And your complicit response is required by law at that point. Again, we're going to keep asking this question over and over and over. Does this mean the guy should die? No. But he doesn't seem to do that thing. Here we go.
But the video evidence and his background tell a different story.
Okay. So this happens really quickly. ICE agent sprays lady in white, right? Like she gets hosed down with the she gets hosed down with the extra hot Taco John sauce. She goes down. This dude goes to cover her body. Let me help you out. You do not have the right to help her out because a police officer is deploying a less lethal use of force right now for a purpose that they've determined. They could be wrong, but they are doing that. What if that officer is trying to stop her from stabbing someone or shooting someone? You don't know. You don't know what it is. You don't have the right to interfere. Your interference might be someone going down, coming back up with a gun and shooting the officer, or, again, a bus full of school children, puppies, and gerbils. And Richard Gere would be very upset. You do not have a right to interfere with the lawful enforcement of the law. And I know that sucks. It does. Because what if you're looking at it, you're like, stop shoving that old fucking lady. Like, stop it. You're going to bust her hip or whatever, and that's my job. It doesn't matter. You don't get to do this. You don't get to shield her body from the pepper spray. You don't get to do that because you don't know what the cop is doing. You don't know what's in his mind. You don't know what he has seen. You don't know if he is trying to stop a threat with the only tool that he happens to have out at the time. Does this mean he needs to die? No. But now we're pushing closer. This guy's he is forcefully impeding. He's committing a felony in just a second.
But the video evidence and his background.
The video evidence and his background. He's an ICU nurse. Which ICU nurse is actually just a creepy thing for guys who like watching women breastfeed or whatever. But no, he's an ICU nurse. His background is to throw himself on top of a woman being pepper sprayed. I'm sorry. How many ICU nurses are out there in the audience right now? Probably zero. But if there was one, you know what I know is not part of your normal job? Jumping on a woman getting pepper sprayed. That's not an ICU nurse duty. It's not there. Here we go.
Tell a different story. Alex Pretti was an ICU nurse, and he was stepping in to help these women.
Not your job, not your role. You can say ICE is fucking assholes for dealing with these women in this way. They exceeded blah, blah, blah. They used too much force. I don't know. We don't get to examine that now because we're too busy with this tard.
Doing so, he was pepper sprayed and pushed onto the ice as both Alex and the woman slip.
Okay. What I don't understand is when they pull Alex off of her, why he's like grabbing onto her backpack or whatever. She's being pulled up. This is something I just don't get. Like, I think he's panicked. Glutamyalgia says, Recato Law, 3rd degree drug possession. Yes. Yeah, pled guilty to it. I know, I was there. It was wild. Okay. Does it change the analysis, you fucking dummy? No, it doesn't.
Around, Alex attempts to lift her up to get her.
He doesn't get to lift her up. Again, these officers are making an arrest or using pepper spray and might be making an arrest. He doesn't get to get her up. He doesn't get to help her out. Not your job, not your role.
Her back on her feet as the agents yank him to the ground, and 7 more surround him.
7 agents surround him. They are pulling on him. He is not complying. He's not complying at all. I don't know if you guys noticed this. That is not complicit behavior. And you may think that that's based and red-pilled, but it's actually based in fucking gonna get you dead-pilled because you do not have the authority to resist officers in the execution of an arrest. You don't. If you think we should, cool. Like, let's advocate for that. Let's try and figure out how that would work. I don't know how you would manage that. Bad Dragonite says Polymarket is betting if when Tim Walz is arrested. This is a big problem for him because at this point, he is committing a felony, a federal felony right now. He is forcefully impeding and resisting the execution of an arrest by federal officers, or I shouldn't say an arrest necessarily, a temporary detention, or again, the deployment of pepper spray. He may not like the deployment of pepper spray. Nobody wants to be pepper sprayed except some weirdos. Nobody wants that. Nobody likes it. It burns people who are nearby. Like, it's uncomfortable. You don't get to stop them. You don't. You can say it's fascistic. You can say it's tyrannical. Cool. Got it. Take them to court. Take them for everything that they're worth. Fuck them. But you got to fuck them in court. You can't try and fuck them in the street. You try and fuck them in the street, you're going to get Uno reversed, my man.
Officer in a tan beanie can be seen repeatedly striking Pretti's head with a metal can.
So what? He put his hand on the metal can and then on another person. When they are trying to remove him, he's holding another person. He's assaulting another person. Oh, I was trying to help her. Cool. Like, did she ask? You don't have the authority to do so.
It's hard to watch as these agents pound him in the head with
It's not hard to watch. This is not hard to watch at all. If you think this is hard to watch, oh my God, find a cartel video.
their cans of pepper spray.
The group of officers surrounding Pretti could be heard shouting, "He's got a gun."
Okay, let's just go through it. He's got a gun. Every officer on that scene now has to add in a firearm into their calculus, into their threat assessment, into their determination on whether or not they should use deadly force. Now there's a firearm involved. He hasn't drawn it. He hasn't pointed it at anyone, but now there's a gun involved. And they know. They're loud. All of them now know about it. There's a gun. What happens next? We'll see. Let's see. Noah De Facto says, Andy and I having micropeens happens to be a well-known fact on the Kiwi farms. Whoa, buddy! As long as we keep the Kiwis happy, we will get donations. Otherwise, we need to get real jobs. Nick, help us. Nah, I'm good. I am good. We do have another micropene counter. I think I might have lost track of the. Was there more than? I feel like there's more than two, but I feel like that, but I might be wrong. I feel like that is there. Kano Casino is an interesting backstory. You know, like, but hey, it's not my story. Like, I don't really give a shit. They get to do and say whatever they want over on their thing, their show, and if people like it, go fucking watch it. I don't care. Like, we're busy over here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, back to this.
At one point, they throw an object away from his pockets, followed by this man in the gray, who then runs away.
Furious Anger says, do you still have those books Ron Toye sent you? The emotional intelligence books? Yeah, I wonder where I put those. Because I think, okay, so those I received before we moved into this house. So they're probably on one of these shelves here, but we do have some of our books that haven't made it into the library. So they're in storage. So they could be there, but I think it's just on the shelf behind my monitors. I'll have to find it.
With Alex's weapon. The weapon was one Alex had a permit for, that he was legally allowed to carry.
Again, you can be legally allowed to carry all day. I'm going to just say it. If you are legally carrying and you involve yourself in any physical altercation, especially with an officer, expect to die. Expect it. Justified or not, expect to die. Everyone who goes through concealed carry training knows exactly that you are responsible for your surroundings. You are responsible for the environment you choose to be in and the actions you choose to take. You are responsible for it. They didn't walk up and shoot this guy because he's carrying a gun. They disarm him. We're going to talk about what happens next. They have every right to disarm him. But what are you doing? What are you doing inserting yourself into this? You shouldn't insert yourself into a fist fight or anything. When you're carrying, it is for self-defense. This is the training. Personally, I believe in full open carry. I don't believe it should be permitted. I think it should be non-permit. I think it's constitutional. Open carry should be the standard. That's what I think. That's not the law in Minnesota. That's what I think. I also think if you are open carrying, your purpose is to avoid physical confrontations at all costs, because that's the purpose of having a gun on display, is like, leave me alone. I'm here. I'm good. You're good. Stay over there. If you go get yourself into a physical altercation while carrying, you will go to prison for murder. If you do it, right? If you do that and have to draw and shoot, you don't get to enter a physical altercation with someone else while carrying. Your Second Amendment doesn't give you that right. It gives you the right to keep and bear the arms. You get to keep them. You get to bear them. You get to carry them around. It's cool. Again, in Minnesota, I think we're a little communist. So we have the CCW permit is not a concealed carry permit. It is a carry permit, conceal or open. And we cannot open carry long rifles outside of very limited circumstances. We can open carry or conceal carry with the permit for both a handgun. But the moment you engage someone else in a physical act, you have now put yourself at risk of being guilty of murder. You have entered an encounter knowing that you have a gun. This does not mean that he deserves to die. This means he should start expecting to die. Now, the question of justification is not answered yet. We're not there. All of these things I'm saying do not mean justified shoot. Remember, it's the moment of the shot informed by the totality of the circumstances.
Even at a protest, it seems the officers may have been noticing it as they pat him down.
Yeah, not while they patted him down. Someone yelled it out. They just saw it on his hip, most likely.
As the officer in the gray is seen pulling it from the back of his waist.
Cool. All right. So he's got it in a like in the back of his waist. I don't know if it's in a waist holster or just sitting there like a true, straight up thug or whatever. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter to me. They move in to disarm him to the best of their knowledge, and that's going to be critical in just a second. Dark Schwartz Rising says, in my CCW class, the instructor reinforced several times that when you carry, you are essentially held to a higher standard of responsibility. Yes, you're the one who knows you have a gun. You're the one who knows you have a gun. You can't just walk around deciding to swing your big boomstick dick at everybody who pisses you off. You can't do it. 200 Watt Studio, you ever see a child get attacked by a pack of dogs, but one of the dogs is trying to fight off the other dogs to save the kid? Which dog is that? It's a dog that gets fucking eaten. Okay, here we go. We'll try this. Damn it, Nick! Why are you breaking shit? Ronnie needs a voice. Ronnie needs to be able to speak. I didn't do it. I didn't do it well. I didn't. Noah De Facto says, oh, so you can't stop talking about our micropeens here at the Pinot Casino. Well, PPP is on his way of losing his frustrated virginity, and he still hasn't done that yet. I figured he and Andy did at some point. And Andy is in between relapse. Wish us well, and let's make up. I really hope, like, look, I'm not a big fan of those guys, but I really do hope Andy's not in relapse. But I don't have fucking time for my own show. Like, I definitely don't have time to follow their shit. Let's see. Forlorn Tim, thanks for the thoughts and prayers. More, please. Consent order a little less onerous than original demand. Charges to be dropped, and we've been not exchanging but mutually posting pics of a dog from when each sees her. Your situation is confusing, brother. Do you have a restraining order? You said there's a consent order. Is it a consent not to contact each other? Whatever it is, I'll pray for peace, resolution, and healing for you guys. Whatever the best way that is, I'm not really sure. But I do hope that it happens for you. Kate of the Swiss says, odd, I didn't interfere with federal agents and I'm still drawing breath. Strange how that works. Yeah, I didn't fight cops. I'm alive. I'm very fortunate. I didn't know if I would be. I really didn't. I was extremely careful when they arrested me. Like, I was extremely careful. I was angry. I called the one officer fat because he was. I was very frustrated. I wasn't going to be swinging my fucking fists like an idiot. Like, what are we talking about here? But I was mad. I didn't want to deal with what I had to deal with. It was my fault, though. Like,
No point does it look like Alex is reaching for his weapon. In fact,
Alex doesn't necessarily have to be reaching for his weapon. But it kind of matters. Might matter, we'll say. Because the officers, depending on if they know he's reaching for a weapon or not, more appropriately, if they know he's not reaching for a weapon, that could really impact the reasonableness of their actions. Here we go. It says, without the voice, the second line doesn't load. Any update on my micropene voice update? Oh, yeah, the second line might not load. I do apologize for that. It kind of can. No update yet on that one. I've been out of commission, but we're going to hopefully get some more shit going. Here we go.
in fact, the other angle shows his fists on the ground the entire time as his weapon is removed from his holster by the agents. With Alex now on.
Okay. Not by the agents. Derek Reinhold says, Nick Ricada, I'd love to debate you. Hold on. What do we got here? I'm a U.S. Navy anti-terrorism officer and security forces officer. Let's debate what happened in Minneapolis. Okay. Do you want to do that tonight? Or do you want to do that like sometime this week? What do you want to do? Gluteal myalgia. So it sounds like you're giving out legal advice while suspended. Is that a violation of your probation? No, you being dumb isn't a violation of my probation. Shockingly, I'm not giving out legal advice on a YouTube channel to 1,600 people that will eventually be seen by like 10,000 or something like that, because I don't have an attorney-client relationship with anybody here, and there's no expectation that I would. I'm not soliciting you to hire me. I don't want you to hire me. If you called up my office, I would answer the phone and say, I'm not taking any clients right now. Not only am I suspended, but I haven't taken any clients since 2020. But thanks, though. No is a short answer on that one. All right, back to this.
Armed, the agents fire their gun.
Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots.
The first shot.
Okay, I think we, I don't know if we've missed it. The first shot, I think, is Pretti's gun. I think it's Pretti's gun going off in an officer's hand.
Seemed to miss Alex. They shot 9 more times into his
We'll talk about this in a second.
back and continued to fire as he laid motionless, unarmed in the street.
They shot a guy a whole bunch of times. Are you that confused about it?
Oh my God! You are so evil!
Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Nobody approached his body for 24 seconds.
Oh my fucking God. I will be right back. I need to go to the bathroom. Nobody approached his body for 24 seconds. Are we at 24 seconds now? Oh my fucking... Okay. So I lost my temper there just a little bit. Nobody approached him for 24 seconds. Oh, okay, cool. Got it. Got it. Long pee break. Well, it's got some distance to travel. I'm tall. Pee is stored in the balls of someone else. Okay. All right. This is obviously, like, I think, I overdid something. I overreacted there because they're just saying that it took 24 seconds. That's all. That's all they're doing. They're not making some other statement about it, right? Like that's it. Silverhawk says, Nick, I'm confused. Does he think that if it's said in double voice, it makes it more true? Or is he just stupid? Yes. Yes, he does. He does think that. Oh, 1 second. Oh, okay. Here we go. Back to this.
When they did, they seemed more worried about figuring out where the supposed gun was and how many times he had been shot.
Yeah, you wonder why? Hey, where's that fucking gun? Where's that thing? I don't know. Like, do we know where it is? We just assume that that they all know the guy that took it out of his waistband. We assume that. They don't know. They have no they might. This is an issue for trial. And this really is an issue for trial. Or could be, I suppose, if they go to trial. But this is the one where they go, yeah, I didn't know where the gun was. It's a gun. We hear a gun go off. Bam, 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 bam. Done. Game over. Did the guy who took the gun turn around and shoot? Like, bam, oh, shit. Did he turn around and start unloading on him? That guy would go to prison. We'd want that guy in prison, I think.
A sworn affidavit from a witness and physician who was...
Oh, we're going to read this affidavit in a little bit. It's so fucking stupid. Here's the deal. This one's really hard. Because if it were one officer engaged with this one guy and the same set of facts occurs, probably not justified. Because that officer knows that he's got a gun, that he's taking him off. Branca has brought up multiple times. And you should always listen to Branca on these issues, even if you disagree with him, because he is a nationally recognized expert in use of force. He is one of the few people who is the most qualified in the room to talk about this. And you are welcome to come to a different conclusion, but understand what expertise and authority, understand what their value is. Andrew Branca is telling you how this works under the law and what he believes the facts are as he sees them. That's useful. Even if you go, I think that guy's full of shit. So you should check out what Andrew Branca has to say. But he's brought up something very important. He's not the only one. Shipwrecked Crew on X has also brought this up. Just because an officer removes a gun from this guy does not mean that he is no longer a threat. Remember, he wasn't a threat because of the gun in the first place, technically. He didn't draw the gun. He didn't point it at an officer. That's not what makes him a threat. It's not a deadly force threat. He's just like, at this point, the gun is in his waistband, whatever. Police remove it. Now, allegedly, that thing goes off on its own in the officer's hand, and then that sparks the gunfire. They don't know if he has another gun. They don't know if he has a knife. They don't know any of these things unless they do. Unless they do. And that is an issue for trial. Now, here, let me help out. Let me help out. In police actions, in Fourth Amendment actions, and ultimately, this is a Fourth Amendment question. This is a seizure of life, of a person entirely. He's dead. His rights are all gone. Okay? In Fourth Amendment questions, in other contexts, the knowledge of one officer is imputed on other officers. All right? And this would be a potential avenue of attack for a prosecuting attorney to say, I'm sorry, you get to be imputed with knowledge about a scenario for the purposes of the Fourth Amendment to conduct a search. Why do we assume that you're not imputed with the same knowledge, especially when you're there, of your other officers? And that is a way to go after this. That is a way to say, hey, like, you know, the guy's pulling the gun. Maybe he yells, I got the gun. Maybe he says, got disarmed. Maybe he says whatever. We don't know at this point. And those are facts that could come up at trial. That's a legal argument. It's not the best, but it is a legal argument that could come out of this at trial. I think there's a real question as to who knew what. And remember what I said, some of these guys might be guilty and other guys might not be guilty. This isn't an all or nothing thing. These are individuals acting individually, and each of their assessments, each of their determinations about deadly force, the reasonableness of the threat, and the need to use deadly force, all of those determinations are individual. They'll be weighed individually. They don't get to collectivize it. So one person's may be reasonable where another person's not. The less knowledge someone has of the scene, the more reasonable deadly force becomes. If they don't know about the gun being removed, or maybe one guy's like, hey, I've been looking, I've watched this guy. He's just got the one gun on him. Pretty sure, you know, maybe he told that to the other officers. If the officers are aware that there's only one gun and they're aware that it's removed, that changes things, right? Like, but we don't know. What do you mean with the imputation? Well, imputed. So you can impute knowledge from one officer to another. This officer, in other contexts, it's like this. They know of an exigent circumstance that would allow them to kick down a door, right? One officer does. The other officer kicks down the door. That officer doesn't necessarily have to have actual knowledge of the exigent circumstance because the other officer's knowledge can be imputed upon him. I believe that's an acceptable way that's handled in a completely separate context. But remember, Fourth Amendment searches are Fourth Amendment seizures. They're analyzed the same way. The questions are the same. Now, I'm not aware of deadly force's decisions or a knowledge being imputed upon an officer. I'm not aware of that. I think that's a little unfair. That doesn't mean that a prosecutor won't try it. And if a prosecutor were to try that, they would at least have a legal argument that says, these guys should have known because that guy removed the gun, that there was no longer a gun present. But they could simply say, you know, we didn't know that there was another gun present. All we heard was gun. We didn't see the guy grab the gun from the waistband and run off. His job isn't to tell us that he's disarmed the guy or whatever. His job is to get the gun away from that guy. And here's another thing. Every one of those officers has a gun and other implements on them that are dangerous. And any of those weapons are available to that guy if he gets up and grabs them. People grab guns from cops and shoot them all the time. People grab tasers from cops and tase them. People might have something on the street. Like there may be a knife sitting in the, like next to the curb. We don't know. We don't know any of that. We do know is that the one guy seems to have removed the gun from his waistband. Someone yells gun, 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 gun. Then just a moment later, we hear a shot and then blam, 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 blam. And all of a sudden, he's Swiss cheese. Here we go. You mean the guy who was doing nothing but recording, you fucking retarded moron. Look, if you watch that video and you come to that conclusion, cool. That's fine. I'm not saying that he was doing anything else at all. It doesn't really matter what he was doing. What matters is the reasonableness of each officer's actions. That's the legal question that's involved. This is not a moral question. Morally, I think Alex Pretti was really stupid. And I think that he got himself into a situation in which he lost his life. Morally, I think shooting him was wrong. So far. That doesn't really fucking matter for a legal justification or not. By the way, it doesn't matter at all. Morally, I would like for him to not have been shot. Morally speaking, I would like more compassion from the officers. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they did the wrong thing, though, at the same time. Like, I'm not there. I'm not in a man pile in the middle of a fucking cold street fighting with some retard who couldn't keep his goddamn hands to himself. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and Monday morning quarterback it. But I don't like when the government shoots people. I don't like it. As a rule, I don't like it. Doesn't have fuck all to do with justifiability. In this case, we've got different questions, though, than Renee Good, because I think there's questions about what officer knew what about the guns at the time. Now, maybe every officer goes, all we know is that someone yelled gun, and then I heard a gunshot. Okay. If that's true, and he gives that testimony, and the jury believes him, who are we to say otherwise, right? It's tough. This is a hard question. This is not easy. Winston Smith says there's always some dumb YouTube woman screaming in these videos every time. Winston Smith also says it takes a special douche to become a prosecutor. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea at all. Gen X Medic says, seriously, 24 seconds? That's extremely reasonable given the situation. High risk situation, unsecured firearm, and crowd that is immediately hostile. I do this for a living. This is completely right. Yeah, 24 seconds is extremely fast. And they do have an obligation to secure the scene, not just for themselves, but for the people around. They don't know if someone else is going to pull out a gun. They don't know if someone's going to come up and kick them or attack them or try and choke them. They have no idea. They need to secure the scene. 24 seconds is fast, very fast to get medical care going. Okay, we're going to read this affidavit in a minute.
There confirms this as well.
The suspect also had two loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
I think that statement's a little bit much. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you carrying 3 magazines worth of ammo, 4 magazines, 50 magazines. Doesn't matter. You have every right to do it, okay? And I don't think that the amount of magazines that he's carrying or the amount of ammo that he's carrying is indicative at all of his intention to cause harm. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. He's dead. We don't get to ask. That's one of the hard parts of this, right? Maybe there's a Facebook post of him saying, I'm going to go fucking take out an ICE agent, or maybe he's got a manifesto like shoved in his backpack. I don't know, right? Like, we don't know that. but I can't assume that those facts exist in the same way that I can't assume facts exist in the opposite direction. And so, sure, there's all sorts of things. But here's the kicker. It doesn't matter, because his intention that day could have been to go and murder cops. And maybe he got stopped by happenstance. I don't think so, but his intention could be that. It would not make shooting him justified just because he intended to do harm. It might make him morally correct or whatever, but does the officer know or have a reasonable suspicion that this is going to happen? Without that, it doesn't matter what his intentions are, good or bad. Yes, it does. You should back. It doesn't. It doesn't. That's, again, on the question of justifying the use of deadly force. Does a reasonable officer, does a reasonable ICE agent there that day, do they perceive a deadly threat? And do they determine that the use of deadly force is the sufficient way to stop that threat? That's it. And is that reasonable? Did they do that? Objectively, subjectively? That's the question. That's deadly force. That's the question. There's none of this other stuff like, oh, his intentions, blah, blah, blah. Unless the cops know. If the cops know, well, if they know he's got deadly intentions, way different and much more likely to use deadly force faster. TMF Squid. Either way, it was only a second or two from man getting disarmed to shots fired as a result of the alleged random discharge from Pretti's gun. Is that really enough time for officers to process that info in a tense situation? They are expected to process that and make split-second decisions, and that's why we give them broad leeway on the justification. Again, you don't have to like this. You can say the law should be different, that it shouldn't protect cops in the way it does. I think we should have the same protections that cops do, and we really kind of don't. We kind of do, but we kind of don't. But that said, that's not what the law is. Like, the law is one thing. What we want the law to be is different. What do you want the law to be? Put it in the comment. Like, you can put it in the chat, but put it in the comments afterwards. Comment on this stuff. Tell me what you guys think about the overall thing, you know, when we're done.
They want us to believe that Alex Pretti wanted to cause maximum damage. And
who cares what they want us to believe? Who cares? Did it work? Did it work? Did they get you to believe it? Are you like, oh yeah, now that Kristi Noem said it, I believe it. Why would you believe Kristi Noem? She's an attractive woman. Why are you even listening to her? What are you doing? Yes, this is a vape. It's just nicotine. It is orange mango, and it is shaped like a purse because, well, apparently I'm gay these days.
Kill law enforcement when the video shows the exact opposite. This administration is lying to us.
The video doesn't show the exact opposite of that. The video shows something completely unrelated. Completely unrelated. Damn it. But it's not the opposite. I don't know how you show the opposite of wanting to kill everybody. Like, I guess not killing everybody. But we don't know. The video doesn't show that he doesn't want to. He gets killed before anything else happens. I don't believe he was there to cause harm. But, hold on. Really? No. Oh my God. Shipwrecked Crew brought up a good point, and I mentioned it earlier, and it bears some interesting thought. This is not is not an assessment or a critical analysis. This is a thought. When you're protesting federal government or the federal agents, when you're protesting federal agents and you bring a gun to that protest, what is your purpose? What is your intention? Now, whatever your intention is, what is the officer who sees you with a gun supposed to think? Gen X Medic says, if it is true the gun went off, this might be the lawsuit that gets SIG. That gun has a reputation for going off unexpectedly. I mean, the joke is that it has a Bluetooth trigger, SIG P320. Yes. Yes, and that may be the case. Wrongful death suit that actually gets a gun manufacturer because they would have knowledge that this is a common problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Very possible. Very possible. Again, the trick here, and this is on you too, when you're exercising your Second Amendment rights. What is the officer in this situation supposed to think, especially when you get into a physical altercation? Again, there's not a rival gang at the protest, right? It's not 2020. There's not a horde coming that Kyle Rittenhouse and some other people are defending a tower against. That's not happening here. These people are protesting ICE. They're not protesting a mob that's burning the town. So what is the purpose of the gun? You have the right to have it. You have the right to bring it. You have the right to have all the ammo. You have the right to have it loaded and the safety off. So long as you're properly permitted, because it's the state of Minnesota. Why conceal carry at a carnival? This is different. Unless the carnival is being put on by the Fraternal Order of Police Chiefs, right? Like, again, what are you doing there with that gun? And the answer could be, look, I'm worried that someone in the crowd's going to go crazy and come after me. All right, yeah. I'm worried OPP is going to find me on my Instagram post and come after me. Okay, I got it. I believe you. That's fine. What's the officer supposed to think? Does he know about OPP? Yeah, you know me. No. But that doesn't mean automatically you should die, of course. But all these things add up. I still think we're left with some serious questions. Let's keep going. Let's see what Andy has to say. This is an unfortunate look on his face.
They rushed to create a panic and assign blame to the opposing political team before a real investigation ever began. They used fear to justify lethal force, then scrambled when the video didn't match the story. And
what are you talking about? Fear to justify lethal force. Okay. That is what justifies lethal force, is fear. I don't know if people are taking notes. Bitter Sweetheart says, what gets me? Responsible CCW holders do not actively seek out opportunities to exercise the right. Personally, I avoid it like the plague. TMF Squid says, let's see, I'm not saying Pretti deserved it or if it was justified or not, but starting a fight while carrying isn't smart. Correct. And we have two things going here. We have the intelligence of Pretti, which is not high, not big. The intelligence of Pretti, not high. Lower now than it was, but not high in the first place. His actions are not smart. It does not mean that the cops are justified or not. That doesn't. That's just some tips for protesting.
When an independent investigation was supposed to begin, it was blocked.
You arrived at the scene, you were denied. You go to a judge, ask for a warrant, though Judge Grant said warrant. You show up with that, you're still denied.
That's accurate. We were denied after we provided information we had a warrant.
Minnesota's own independent investigators, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, arrived with a signed warrant, yet federal agents still denied them access to the scene.
That's an interesting one because federal supremacy might actually trump them on that one. However, I do believe that a state warrant, actually, I don't know. federal supremacy might actually win the day on this one, because I'm not entirely sure that federal agents are subject to a state warrant. I'm not sure at all, actually. I've never had to deal with that personally.
And now the only entity officially tasked with investigating DHS's actions is DHS itself.
You just made claims that the individual posed a threat to law enforcement. I guess
that is no claim. It is the facts. The facts of the situation. This individual showed up to a law enforcement operation with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition. He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to...
I'm not liking, just in general, Kristi Noem did this during the Renee Good thing too, where we're trying to give a lot of motivations and whatever, and they don't matter. They don't matter to the legal analysis. They matter a lot to the messaging of the administration, of course, and I don't like it. Like, I'm not a big fan. We don't know what his intentions were, and then again, outside of a manifesto or some text messages or something, I don't see why we would assume that someone lawfully carrying, a firearm is automatically there to harm cops. He didn't harm cops. He didn't do that. His dumbass may have gotten himself killed, but he didn't do it harming cops. If anything, he was maybe accidentally harming the woman that he was not letting go of. Maybe that's the case.
Perpetuate violence, and he was asked to show up and to continue to resist by a governor who's irresponsible and has a long history of corruption and lying.
Now, that's true about Tim Walz. She also should have called him retarded.
Ah, that's right, because Kristi Noem has never been caught lying herself.
Quote, I remember when I met with...
This is what's called a two-coquet fallacy from Andy. It's either a two-coquet fallacy or it's an appeal to hypocrisy. And both of them are informal fallacies. Neither one of them help anything. Well, she also lied about something else. Who fucking cares? Does that mean she's lying now? No, it has nothing to do with it. She might be lying now. She might not. I don't like the messaging of the federal government. I don't need to say Kristi Noem has lied at other places. Now I know, like, every human is capable of lying. All of them.
North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. Did you meet Kim Jong-un?
You know, as soon as this was brought to my attention, I certainly made some changes and looked at this passage. And I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. As soon as it was brought to my attention, we went forward and have made some edits. So I'm glad that this book is being released in a...
But did you ever meet him? I don't know that necessarily invalidates the specific claim, but it kind of does.
Couple of days, and that those edits will be in place, and that people will have the updated version.
She does her makeup really well. I like it. Like, Kristi Noem sometimes looks really good. Other times not as good, but nobody's perfect except for me.
So you did not meet with Kim Jong-un. That's what you're saying.
No, I've met with many, many world leaders. Many world leaders. I've traveled around the world, I think.
Did you hear the AI kick in and start writing the answer? No, I've been a lot of places and stuff with people and some folks.
I've talked extensively in this book about my time serving in Congress, my time as governor, before governor, some of the travels that I've had. I'm not going to talk about my specific meetings with world leaders. I'm just not going to do that.
How could anyone trust someone who could lie so confidently and casually? And here's the even wilder part. The same political movement that has spent years defending absolute gun rights, that defended Kyle Rittenhouse showing up armed to a protest, is now suddenly claiming you can't be armed at a protest.
We talked about this earlier. That is not a logical connection. That is not an appropriate comparison. Kyle Rittenhouse is not there to protest police officers. That's not his role. That's not what he was there to do. That's not who he fought with.
At all. Why does a nurse feel compelled to go confront ICE armed with a 9mm handgun? No.
That is a good question. Like, that doesn't mean he deserves to die, but it's a fucking good question, right? Would you guys do it? I wouldn't go confront ICE with a bowl of cereal in hand. I don't know why this guy could do, like, I will never get into that headspace and go, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm not there. I mean, I guess in theory I could get there somehow, but no, I'm not going to do that. It's a good question. Why is he there in this way? Not that he can't be there, but why is he there in this way? Fucking around in the street.
Someone who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded.
Cash Patel doesn't really have my my ear. Musha Game Central says, I agree, Andy. How can we trust you after you are lying? Oh my goodness. Shots fired. Oh wait, no, not shots fired. Don't kill anybody.
With 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful
Which 2 magazines? Like GQ and Home and Garden or
protest?
Even X had to fact check Cash with the Second Amendment. Apparently Trump fans forget that Trump.
Even X had to do it. It had to? Yeah, man, like, whoa. Cash Patel said some stuff, and X just had to fact check him with the Second Amendment. Funny thing is, the person who fact checked Cash on the Second Amendment probably doesn't understand it at all, but, you know, whatever.
Fans also carry at protests. The spin was so absurd that even the NRA had to step in and fact check it, pointing out that lawful gun ownership does not magically disappear because people are protesting. When even the NRA is correcting your talking points, this isn't about public safety.
The NRA is one of the biggest groups of bullshit who have fucked the Second Amendment. The NRA has bent the Second Amendment over and just dry fucked it into oblivion for their own money, their own coffers. They're one of the worst Second Amendment protecting organizations left in this country. Fuck off with NRA. Gross. Ew. Yucky. Wayne Lapierre. You sound fucking French. Get out. Sorry, I have anger management issues. Chief Vince El Jefe says, I think the libtrad didn't understand the classic Swiss cheese model. Lots of bad consequences lining up makes for bad results.
It's about rewriting the rules after the fact to protect a bad narrative. We can't stay silent on this issue. This is beyond politics. Alex Pretti's family said it best.
The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting.
What's going on here? We got this. Oh, wait. I'll wait. Nobody will say how they organized January 6th. Oh, okay. So not Signal, not WhatsApp. Okay.
Please get the truth out about our
They
son.
did it on Twitter,
He
didn't
was a good man.
All he was doing was helping people park and get through safely. There was absolutely no danger to any of these agents.
In fact, as an ICU nurse at a VA hospital, Alex Pretti might have said it best himself unintentionally when he was honoring a veteran who had passed away.
Today we remember that freedom is not free.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, he may have said it best unintentionally when he said, ah! That was an inappropriate thought. That was too much.
We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served.
Man, what's his little... He's reading some bullshit here. Hold on.
Best himself unintentionally when he was honoring a veteran who had passed away.
Today we remember that freedom is not free.
Freedom isn't free. There's a hefty fucking fee. Hey, if you don't pitch in your $1.05, who will? Alex Pretti. I think he pitched in at least $3.15. He took a couple for other people. Those women, I think.
You have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it.
It's like a cat?
May we never forget and always remember our brothers.
Here we go. I like this one. Come back. Karma will be back for you, Ricada, cocksucker. Like, why? What did I do to Karma? She seems nice. Kata the Swiss says, is Signor trying to be the next mundane Matt? Cool Mad Mike says, where's Tampon Tin when you need to plug some holes? Why is Karma gonna come after me? I didn't do anything. I didn't shoot anybody. I said I thought the shooting was immoral. I think they've got a good case that it's legally justified, but I think this one needs to go to I'm more willing to say that this one needs to go to trial than the other one. Dark Schwartz Rising says this is like when they kept showing Trayvon Martin's baby pics and said he was getting Skittles. He was getting Skittles. It was just it was just for some purple drink. Karma watches Nick's show regularly. Yeah, and sometimes she comes back with police. You can be mad at me all day. It's not going to change anything about any of these situations. This is just me telling you what I believe the legal questions and issues are, because you may not know them, may not see them. It's also, this is my opportunity. This is the first time I've seen a lot of this stuff. I don't know what this has to do with anything. He's reading a fucking calendar. Maybe if he would have read a calendar, he would have been at the protest the next day and lived.
And sisters who have served so that we may enjoy.
I know it's not a calendar. It's like one of those Office Max folder things that you put like a school presentation in.
The gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation.
I like this one. This is good. If Nick watched Bronca earlier, he'd have the answers. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what Bronca's analysis is. And I think Bronca's going to say, these guys have a good case of self-defense, or a good case on the use of force based on, on everything. In this one, though, I think there are questions that belong before a jury. Who knew what about the gun? That's a fact that we don't know. Who knew what about the gun and when? There's some shots that are fired late. To be very clear, I don't think that any particular set of shots fired by any particular officer, even the last set, I don't think they're sufficiently far enough away in time to say that, he could have chosen differently or whatever. I think each of those officers in their own time made the decision that there was a threat, and then in their own time neutralized the threat. I didn't see anything that would indicate to me that there was a sufficient pause or a sufficient decision change prior to the firing. But that could be there. That's a fact question, I do think, in this case, especially when the second guy starts shooting. The fact question now is why are you shooting now? It looked like he's down. Was he still wiggling? What's he doing? I don't know.
In the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render our honor and our gratitude.
He just read a thing and killed a guy. God, that's brutal. This guy's a monster. Okay, how? Where are you steward? Yes. Oh my God. Popcorn plutocracy. If you want to see Andy take all of the autocracies, it's plutocracy, he's got a new channel on YouTube talking about these issues instead of just entertainment. Like he normally does. So you can check that out on your own if you want. It's fine. Look, Andy sees these different than I do. This one though, I wanna reiterate. I think some people are like thinking that I'm on the side of this being obviously justified. I don't think this is obviously justified. Renee Good was obviously justified by the law and the facts that are out. Period. No way around it. If you don't think that, you do not understand the facts or the law. That's it. That's okay. You can not understand the facts and the law, or you can say, this is morally bad, even if it's legally justified. Go for it all day long. All night long, too. All night long. All night. Like, you can do that. I don't care. I don't give a shit. This case, though, don't mistake me. I don't think this is that. I don't think this is the Renee Good case. I do think that there's some questions that seem like I think I know the answers, right? I think I know them, but I think there's enough of a fact question there to go, yeah, if that fact is different, though, if that officer knew about the gun being hauled away and then he pulls and shoots, sure, the guy could have another gun, he could still be not safe, etc. But now you're going to have to tell me about it. Now you're going to have to show me that he wasn't safe. Now you're going to have to show me where he like reaches for the gun. Now you're going to have to get me to that justification in a different way. And I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, based on what I've seen, there's some unanswered questions. And like I said, right now, I think those questions do resolve in the officer's favor for a lot of reasons. And I think ultimately at trial, like they would probably prevail because this would be removed out of Minnesota. Again, it'd be removed. It'd go to federal court. They wouldn't be subject to a Minnesota jury pool, which is critical. But yeah, I think there's questions for the jury here. Renee Good, I haven't seen any questions that need to be answered. I haven't seen any questions that the answer would change the outcome so far in Renee Good. Here I do. Rusty Shackelford says, if I'm going to jail, you're going with me, bitch. Alex. Wait, Alex who? Don't Mind Me says, the term for this is awful but lawful. This is an appropriate one. I don't think the Renee Good shooting qualifies as awful but lawful. I don't have any reason for it to be awful. I'm sure it's awful for her wife. I'm sure it's awful for her family members, her friends, maybe the local community. I'm sure it's awful for the ICE agent, Jonathan Ross, who had to pull the trigger. Like, I'm sure that for them, yes. But generally speaking, the Renee Good shooting is so justified. I don't know what to do. Because, it's like, well, it's awful in the sense that someone died. Yeah, but also that is the most expected shooting I can imagine. Dark Onus OPP. Hey, OPP. About if they knew he was disarmed. Didn't hear the guy yell he disarmed him. But with all the whistles, they probably couldn't hear each other. And again, that's a great fact question. That's a great fact question for trial. Right? Hey, he yelled gun. You guys knew, some guys I got the gun or whatever. And they're like, hey, I couldn't hear shit. I couldn't hear anything. Stupid whistles, people screaming at me. I couldn't hear anything. I did not hear anything other than I heard gun. I remember hearing gun because I knew at that point things changed. Okay. That might not be what he says. But I could see that testimony, that goes right there. I want that testimony, don't you? Don't you want to know about it? Oh man, that was that's a wild one. Oh. You're a wild one. Hold on, let me get this. Wait, never mind. I think I have it on my own timeline. Let's take a look at this. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, why are you gay? Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. This is this. Sorry. Sometimes I get good messages. All right, we've got Stephen Kraft, 8070, says, I've seen ICE CBP related videos of people being pushed down, including on concrete. Risk of serious head injury seems high. What is the law? So use of force has to be justified by something. And what that use of force is on the force continuum or whatever shit you want to call it, like it depends on the facts of the case. In this one is when I said, I don't know about that push from that officer of the woman and of Pretti. And if that push is not justified, if there is not a justifiable reason for the push in that moment, then he entered that conflict. And he enters that conflict, his use of deadly force, if he uses it, I don't know if he's one of the shooters. Although he's likely an accessory to the shooting, whether or not he's one of the people who pulled the trigger because he's the instigating event or whatever. But if that push is unjustified, that guy might get prison time, right? Like that might destroy his justification. If he pushes that woman and does not have a justifiable reason for it. Now, it's a use of force. It is a push. A push can cause serious injury, but that's not really a reasonable expectation, I don't think. I think it could cause injury. So we're talking about like a misdemeanor assault. And trust me, you don't, if you shove someone, you don't want to be charged with felony assault, right? Because you attempted to cause serious bodily injury. It'd be a misdemeanor assault because it's a push and we're not stupid. So, that's, oh shit. That's a whole issue there. But it could lead to that guy getting prison time. Like that's real. I think that it's possible. I don't understand necessarily why he's pushing them other than they're in the street, but they shouldn't be in the street and they can use force to remove them from the street. So maybe they have a justifiable reason. Here we go. This is where we go. Okay. That sounds like a good question for trial. All right. Now this is the affidavit of the doctor that was mentioned in the video. This is the 4-page affidavit of the doctor on scene. Now, I think this doesn't matter to the shooting. This doesn't matter to the shooting at all because this all happened after the shooting. All right. I think this is interesting because one, it's different than Renee Good because they do let this doctor help out. But I think it's instructive also as to how fucking dumb it is for them to do this. I think, declare as follows. I'm a 29-year-old resident of the blank in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've lived in Minneapolis since 2024 when I moved to the city to begin my medical residency. I am a licensed pediatrician, and I've been practicing pediatric medicine in the city since I moved here. Okay, so this is a pediatric doctor who's been practicing pediatric medicine since 2024, and they're 29. They're in residency. They're still like finishing med school. This person is not a trauma or ER doctor. This is a person who vaccinates children, who takes children's temperatures, who tests their reflexes, tests their vision, tests their their hearing. If the child has a fever or some other thing, they might diagnose them with RSV or influenza. They're not dealing with 9 gunshot wounds through the chest of a grown man, typically speaking. All right? That's fucking important thing number 1. Now let's see why. On January 24th at approximately 9 a.m. Central, I was awoken. I was awoken by the sound of cars honking and whistles blowing. Oh, I would want to fucking die if I lived in the city and had to hear that shit when like just while I'm sleeping. You wake up, just sounds like a shitty rave. You're like David Guetta's out there, like ice, 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 ice. Oh, kill me. Ah. Oh, can you imagine just honking? I've changed my mind. Kill everyone who does any of that. Shoot everybody. Bro, get in view. Oh, yeah. See, here's what happened. I forgot. I have the two-way, not like a pager. I have like the two-way thing going on. I don't know if I'm in view or not. Give me a second. Let me check. I'm better now, I think. I don't actually know. Where are we? Live. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Okay. See? Oh my God, that would fucking kill me. Here we go. Yeah. Shortly after I awoke, I heard screaming from outside my window. I saw several ICE agents and civilians yelling at each other. We'll do this like NPR, right? One civilian was standing in front of a parked car on the side of the road. I saw him yelling at the ICE agents, but I did not see him attack the agents or brandish a weapon of any kind. Suddenly, an ICE agent shoved him to the ground. My view of the altercation was partially obstructed, but after a few seconds, I saw at least 4 ICE agents point guns at the man. I then saw the agent shoot the man at least 6 or 7 times. Initially, I was stunned. From what I could see from my apartment, there was absolutely no need for any violence, let alone lethal force by multiple officers. 29-year-old pediatrician, you don't know shit about lethal force. Oh my God. Lethal force for you is a Lego lodged in a nostril. I immediately put on my boots and coat. Just a pussy. Ran outside and approached ICE agents who were near the victim. Okay, cool. Got it. The scene was chaotic. Many civilians were screaming and honking. Over the noise, I informed the ICE agents that I am a physician, and I asked to assess the victim. And then here's where everybody needs to know, I don't care if you're a physician or not, and neither should they. They have emergency medical services on the way. They know that they take care of people like this. They know that emergency medical services does this job. They know it's coming because they've called it, and it will show up and they will take care of the body. That's what they're going to do. You're a fucking pediatrician on the side of the goddamn road in Minneapolis. Nobody knows shit about you and no one cares. Go to your little Tinder stories or whatever. Nobody wants you at the scene. They can't verify who you are. They don't know if you're going to go in and start doing CPR and kill him because you're going to increase blood flow through all those open wounds. They don't know if you're going to feed him tacos. Maybe a Mexican physician. I don't know. At first, the ICE agents wouldn't let me through. They repeatedly asked me for my physician's license, which I obviously didn't have. But none of the ICE agents who were near to the victim were performing CPR, and I could tell that the victim was in critical condition. I insisted that the agents let me assess him. Normally, I would not have been so persistent, but as a physician, I felt a personal and moral obligation to help this man, especially since none of the agents were helping him. That doesn't make any sense. Normally, I wouldn't have been so persistent, but I felt a moral obligation here. What other circumstance would this comparably happen? Like, what are you talking about? Finally, one agent agreed to let me assess the victim. He patted me down to make sure I didn't have a weapon. Yes! By the way, they would have done that to Alex Pretti. They would have done that if he wasn't like obstructing them from acting. They would have assessed if he had a weapon and patted him down and said, cool, like we're going to take this for now. And let me approach the victim. As I approached, I saw that the victim was lying on his side and was surrounded by several ICE agents. I was confused. I was confused as to why the victim was on his side, because that is not standard practice when a victim has been shot. Again, how do you know? How do you know? Tell me about it. What's the standard practice? Oh, like on his back, getting CPR and cutting his clothes off. That's going to happen when EMTs get there. Yeah. But like, you know, him being on his side, they just shot him a whole bunch while he was on his side. Like he's just still there. Checking for a pulse and administering CPR is a standard practice. Oh, okay. Like, how do you know? Again, how do you know this? Standard practice of what? Is it the standard of care for a gunshot wound? Is that what you're trying to tell us? Because that's different than standard practice. Those are different things. Whose practice? Instead of doing either of those things, the ICE agents appeared to be counting his bullet wounds. Well, they got to know what score they got. I asked the ICE agents if the victim had a pulse, and they said they did not know. I then asked the agents to make space so I could assess the victim. Does he have a pulse? I don't fucking know. We're trying to count the holes. The victim had at least 3 bullet wounds in his back. I asked the ICE agents to turn the victim from his side to his back. From that position, I saw an additional gunshot wound on the victim's upper left chest and another possible gunshot wound on his neck. If you administer CPR to this person, they die. Just so we're clear, if you administer CPR to the thing she just described, whoever, they die. they die. They have 7 fucking bullet holes in them. Some of them in the chest. You start pumping that heart harder, manually pumping it, they bleed out faster. That's real. That's what happens. They just fucking die. Like, you're going to kill them. Now, if they're already dead and you're like, let's go. Maybe you save them. I don't know. Do you have blood on you? Do you have a bunch of tampons to shove into the bullet holes? What are you going to do to stop the bleeding? How are you going to do this? I checked for a pulse. Wait. Yeah. I checked for a pulse, but I did not feel one. I immediately began CPR. Shortly after I started compressions, EMS personnel arrived and took over. This sounds like a remarkably well done interaction by ICE, by the officers. A doctor comes up. They're like, who the fuck are you? We're busy. Scene. We're trying to secure it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But okay, fine. I guess you can check him over. We're busy. Like, it's my assumption that they're busy counting bullet holes, if nothing else. They come up. They perform CPR. By the time they start compressions, EMS is getting there. I remained at the scene for about 5 more minutes, but protesters began to gather and the situation seemed to be escalating. I left and returned to my apartment. Okay, thanks. Cool. What's the point of all this? What did you do to help? What did you actually do to help? You started chest compressions right before EMS? Like EMS would have gotten there and started chest compressions within seconds of them showing up. They also would have been immediately, I would assume, putting some O negative blood right into his veins. Like that'd be one of the next things. Like that's the other thing they're doing. When I returned to my apartment, I was extremely distraught. I was sobbing and shaking uncontrollably. Eventually, I called my sister, who lives in a nearby suburb. I called her for comfort because I did not feel safe in my apartment. Oh, what are you talking? What? I wanted to see if I could stay with her for the day and maybe even a few days. You didn't feel safe in your apartment? Why? I also sought advice from a friend who works for the city of Minneapolis. He recommended that I shelter in place because the situation outside my apartment was so dangerous. Well, again, no one else seemed to get shot. I was going to follow his advice, but then ICE agents deployed tear gas on the crowd that had gathered below, and the tear gas began seeping into my apartment. At that point, I did not feel like I could stay in my apartment any longer. I packed an overnight bag, took the elevator down to the parking garage, and drove about 6 blocks to a friend's house. You packed an overnight bag? You were in dire danger at that point. I was still crying and shaking at this point, and I was barely able to speak. I drove to my friend's house because it was close, and I wanted time to collect myself before driving 30 minutes to my sister's house. A long drive. It's a long drive. Whoosha Game Central. CPR is only used when the heart is not pumping. Acting like the 5-year-old in Minnesota are getting shot all the time. I have so much experience in trauma care. Yeah. No, this is silly. This is silliness. And again, the amount of like what she's going through, this is the difference between a trauma doctor and ER doctor, and like, and this person, if they have dealt with death and gunshots before, yeah, they're going to not be crying and weeping and stuff. Like, not saying they're having a good day. ER doctor or trauma doctor loses a patient, it hits them, but it's not the same. Like this person works on children. They don't work on adults. They don't work on gunshots. I'm devastated by the killing of a Minnesotan by multiple federal immigration agents. From what I could tell, the victim was not actively threatening ICE or the public agents or the public. Yet your opinion doesn't matter. He was just yelling at the agents because he objected to ICE's presence in our city. A person should not be shot and killed for lawfully expressing their opinions. Yeah, the problem isn't the yelling. The problem was getting in the way of the shoves and the pepper sprays and all that stuff. That's the problem. And then when they go to grab him and remove him, he's holding on to someone else. He won't let go. They have to pry him off of the woman. I am not sure when I will return to my apartment. Nobody cares. I do not feel safe in my city. In less than 1 month, ICE agents have shot and killed 2 people for protesting and observing their actions. That's not why. That's not why. God. Oh, shit pisses me off. Emmy01 says, did this doctor express that they gave a report to EMS when they arrived? Nope. Did not say they gave a report. Now, I would assume they did, but that's an assumption. I worry that I or someone I love will be shot and killed for voicing their displeasure and being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, again, there's some ways to avoid it. I declare under penalty of perjury that everything I've stated in this document is true and correct. Okay. I only bring this up because the Renee Good shooting, this is one of the things. Oh, they didn't let the doctor in to do whatever. Yeah, what are we talking about? Renee Good, he shot her in the fucking head. This is your brain. This is your brain on the seat. Any questions? She was alive for 8 minutes or whatever. Yeah, who cares? Should a bullet go through her temporal lobe or whatever? Lobe? Area? You know what I mean. She got shot in the fucking head. Not like a little bit, like a lot of it. Having some random guy screaming from the side of the road going, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. Okay, cool. They should have just let him go over there. I mean, they can't really do that, but they should have just let him go over so they could go, right? Like, she's leaking out. She's saying stuff. Sometimes people who are shot in the head, they say stuff. They're caught up on a sound or a thought as the bullet has destroyed their ability to get past it. Scary. If you've never heard it, it's really awful. They shut down. It's like, hey man, I just, and they sound like a modem going bad. Okay. So that's that. Look, the ICE shooting, I mean, again, just quick summary. I think this one's got questions. I think this one should go to a jury. I think the questions will likely be resolved in the officer's favor at the jury, or at a jury trial. But I think that this one has enough fact questions that need to be resolved to go to jury. And I think there's at least 3 officers who are directly involved. There's the shoving officer and then 2 firing officers. I don't know if those are all the same. All of the people like in the immediate area, I guess, are involved, right? But if a guy didn't pull the trigger, I don't think he gets a deadly force charge. He may get an excessive force charge otherwise, but I don't think so. All right, guys. So it's been 3.5 hours. I didn't think I was going to spend 3.5 hours on this topic. I have another thing to cover. That rhymed. Again, Joshua Connor Troon has lost in the subsequent Bodycam case. I was going to go through it. It's a 10-page decision. I'm not going to go through it right now. It'll take me too long. I'm tired. Still don't feel great. So we're going to push the actual read of that document out tomorrow, the next day, something like that. But we will get to that because I have to like a gloat, I guess. It's nothing to gloat. I didn't do it. In this case, it was the county attorney who defeated the Kiwi Farms again. We defeated him with the county attorney the first time, and this is a second time. But this one, I wasn't involved as a party, which is weird. I should be. Thank you. Hold no versal. Thanks. I appreciate that. Very nice. What I'm going to do real quick though is just kind of tell you what happened in that case, just as a preview for it. So, as you may or may not know, on May 23rd of 2024, I was arrested for possessing a significant amount of drugs. And my house is raided and searched and all of that stuff. There are several body cam recordings of that day. Joshua Moon really, really wants those recordings. I don't know why. I don't know his masturbation habits or whatever, but he really wants those recordings. He has ever since I got arrested. That's because Joshua Moon is mad at me for something kind of nebulous, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't. Who cares? But he really wants to get those recordings. Now, he's got a problem. There's a legal problem with him getting the recordings in that body cam footage in Minnesota, unless it involves an officer discharging a weapon or someone dying, is not public, typically. There are some other circumstances in which it could become public, but generally speaking, body cam footage is not public. Again, an officer involved shooting, someone dying, so anybody in the video dying, those make them public because now the state's accountability for the death or use of force is in question. In my instance, there was no discharge of a weapon. There was no use of force. None needed. Shockingly, didn't want to fight like 11 officers. Didn't want to do that. So, got arrested, whatever. These things remain private forever unless that status changes. Now, that status can change by getting the signed written consent of every non-government person in the video, for example, which would be kind of tough to do. Even for me, that would be kind of tough to do because there are people in the video who I don't necessarily have contact with. But outside of that, the only thing that obviously makes it public other than that would be its use in court. Now, I never offered, and they were never accepted, body cam videos in court. I had 2 body cam videos that were potentially going to be used in court. They were uploaded to the Minnesota evidence system, which is required by law for you to upload those in any evidence that you're going to use in advance of a hearing. And so they were uploaded to that. However, when we got to court, the issue in which we were going to use the body cam footage for was resolved without ever going before the court. Like my lawyer and the county attorney resolved that issue. There was no reason to bring any evidence into it. And so the evidence was never offered. It was never accepted. It was never part of the case. However, when that hearing was over, the videos were erroneously labeled as accepted as evidence. As a result of that, a request was made to view those body cams. A judge said okay and allowed 2 people to see them in person, but he did not allow any pictures to be taken, any recordings to be made, or anyone to download anything. Once I found out about that, I quickly petitioned the court to correct the error because it should not have been, those body cam videos should not have been released even to the extent that they were, because no offer, no acceptance, no evidence. The judge went through, the judge reclassified them as not offered or accepted, as not evidence, and rescinded his order allowing people to look at them, so no one else has been able to. Now, Joshua Moon tried to sue to get that undone. To say that the judge was not able to do that, that exceeded his jurisdiction, his power. This is a dumb thing. To say there's no legal basis to suggest that a judge doesn't have control over the evidence that was there, and so long as the evidence was never, or so long as the items were never offered as evidence or accepted as evidence, they aren't evidence, and therefore they're not public. Really straightforward. That's what happened. That was the first time. They lost that one. That one has been appealed. We are waiting for the results of the appeal, which I think will be out February 20th. That being said, at the same time, Mr. Moon, through his attorney, Mr. Harden, has decided to, or had decided to make what's called a collateral attack, in which they try to get a separate order to conflict with an existing order, even though the judge had given a final order on the issue. and they had an avenue to appeal it. They tried another way. This is a collateral attack. Those are impermissible in Minnesota and basically every state, because when an order is complete, or when a matter is complete, everyone should know it's complete and it should be done. You shouldn't be subject to lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. There's a case, or sorry, not a case. There's a concept in civil law called res judicata, which is kind of like double jeopardy. Just says that the matter is dealt with, it is adjudicated, and you can't bring that matter in some other way, in some other venue to try and get around it. That's a collateral attack. That's a violation of res judicata. The judge basically, in the order, which we'll go through next stream probably, said res judicata applies, which is great, because that means that not only does Joshua Moon lose this one, the judge expressly lays out that Josh will lose every case that's based on this set of facts for this set of body cams, period. He'll lose all of them. The line from the document, the line from the order that's probably the most important is, there is no conceivable fact that could make this court able to grant the relief sought on the body cam footage. There is no fact that Josh could bring up. There is nothing that they could do to somehow make those public, which is just a damn shame for Josh, because he's been wanting it so bad, but he won't get it. The only way he can get it at present would be to win the appeal that we've already argued, and I have a feeling he's not going to. I think it's funny that Josh Moon fleeced his Kiwi Farms people out of quite a bit of money, something over $6,000 or something like that, to try and get these, and he failed at getting them. You know, that's disappointing for him, I'm sure. It should be disappointing for everybody who gave him money, because he lied to you from the start. He and his attorney both knew that they couldn't win this. They tried anyway, but they knew they weren't going to. They told you they would. They told you they were going to get it. They were going to get it. Well, Josh did. Harden didn't. Scarlett Hampton says, MAGA us, Nick, making the Midwest a lot greater again. Thank you, Scarlett. Nice to see you tonight. So anyway, Josh loses. We'll go through the order next stream. With that, guys, I think it's time for me to sign off. Oh, yes. Sorry about the high-pitched whine from the vape. I'll try and be more cognizant of it. I forgot about it. Well, guys, thanks for watching with me. I hope you found this educational and infuriating and all that stuff. And we'll see what's going on tomorrow. I know that Don Lemon has maybe some issues going on, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in this state. So I'm keeping a watch on that. But also the investigative documents in the Laura Owens case have come out. Laura Owens was charged with 7 more felonies. If you don't know who Laura Owens is a woman who dated very briefly a contestant from the show The Bachelor, former NFL player, I believe, named something Eckerd, maybe. Anyway, she tried to claim that he got her pregnant. Now, the only problem with that was that they never had sex. She gave him a blowjob. I guess she's like, I swallowed just right. She claimed to be pregnant with twins and tried to extort money out of him. She just got a whole bunch more felonies thrown at her. And the cool thing about that for me is that I wasn't really following the case in depth, but the new felonies include an investigation report, and it kind of goes through the whole case. So we're going to go through that whole case really soon because I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's a fucking nutty case, and I've been waiting for a good opportunity to cover it. Keith Peavy House says, I'm sober tonight, hopefully tomorrow. Keith, stay strong, brother. Stay strong, brother. So, let's see. This is a good one right here. Where was it? This one. No, this is way too big. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow at some point, hopefully. And I should get the super tips fixed up so that's not an issue again. And yeah. Until then, have a good night. Peace. Peace. I got to play the...
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along with his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight. We'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of the frog. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law